Hello, everyone. I am Pop Culture Curator. So good to see you. I'm excited. We are back. It is Tuesday evening, which means we are back for another horror sci-fi stream. I hope everybody's doing well and keeping warm in your neck of the woods, wherever that may be. And tonight is our monthly. Once a month, we do a certain genre or category. And tonight we are revisiting another Hammer Studios classic with Dracula, Prince of Darkness, starring Christopher Lee from 1966. And first, I would like to say hello and a big hearty hugs to my fellow panelists. Hello, Gorillas Random Thoughts. How are you doing?
Oh, it's been a long day, but I'm here.
Been a long day, but you're here. Well, I appreciate you joining us, sir. I know you've had a few things you've had to contend with lately. And I have to ask though, for all that effort to tear apart that car to do your the lamp, how much did the lamp cost?
$12.
Of course, you got to pretty much tear apart the whole car to get to it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And hello and welcome to Sci-Fi Sit Down. How are you doing there, sir?
I'm pretty well today.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that, sir.
I mean, I'm not dead yet anyway.
Well, that's always a blessing, absolutely. When you know you're waking up not dead, yeah, that's definitely a reason to celebrate. And how are you, my good friend Nemesis of Eden? How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing very well, Pop. It's always good to be on here with you and everyone else. And hello to everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here. If you guys haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe to Pop's channel and everyone else's.
Well, thank you, and I'm happy to see you too as well. And I'm going to pay tribute where tribute is due and say hello to the mighty and amazing and fantastic chat. Because like I've said before, I think I had the absolute best chat anywhere on YouTube. And I'm going to pay special thanks to some of you guys who I know you came in kind of early, and I appreciate your patience. And it looks like the first person to grace us with their presence was good old LDG of Free the Net. Good to see you, LDG. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah. Hey, Pickle.
Hey, LDG.
And there we get a comment from Sci-Fi Sit Down saying, hello there, Pop Culture Curator. And I say hello back. And he also says, hello there, LDG of Free the Net. And Nemzabine says, hail, LDG. And, well, that was easy to get caught up on the chat this time. So it looks like maybe we'll get through this kind of quickly tonight. Maybe we won't have a lot of people in the chat. We will soon find out. And hello, wonderful Suzanne Eckstein. So good to see you.
Hey, Suzanne.
Hey, Suzanne.
She says
Hello,
hello, Pop,
Suzanne.
and Gorilla hello, she says.
Yeah, Nemesis.
Yes, we are covering tonight Dracula, Prince of Darkness from 1966. This is Christopher Lee's second outing as Dracula. And the synopsis is as follows. 10 years after his demise, Count Dracula is resurrected by his servant and preys on four unsuspecting English tourists who have taken shelter in his castle. So it's another Hammer horror film. So we get our staple Hammer blood, which I always enjoy, and our Hammer beautiful women, which I even enjoy even more. So that's never disappointment in that department. And let me get the video queued up here, everybody. Give me a moment.
Speaking of the blood, how did that handle you? Or how did you handle it, Gorilla?
Are you there, Gorilla?
Clearly left him speechless. He was absolutely shocked at the amount of blood and whatnot in this movie.
Yeah, Gorilla, how was the blood? Were you able to handle it okay?
It didn't even look like blood.
Or it didn't?
The thing of blood in was it Star Trek 6 looked a lot more realistic than this did.
That's kind of the point of Hammer horror. It's been very stylized.
It is. It's very stylized. It's what they do that intentionally, Gorilla. And if I remember right, Star Trek 6, wasn't it purple Klingon blood?
Pink.
It was pink, I think it was. Yeah, pink.
Yeah, I think, because I remember it wasn't red. But if I remember, I think it was supposed to be Klingon. I think that's the reason why it was off color. Possibly. And I've got
Brandon,
my favorite. Go ahead.
I don't know how you are. How are you for blood and gore? Sit down.
The blood in this movie, there wasn't very much of it, so I wasn't that squeamish about it.
Okay. It's 1966, so don't expect. Even though Night of the Living Dead at this point had already premiered, which, as we all know, is very gory. Even though it's in black and white. But still, most movies at the time were not really over the top on gore. But, of course, we'll always have nights where we do cover movies that have more gore in them. I mean, obviously, we covered Evil Dead, for example. So if we could do Evil Dead, we can cover almost anything on this channel.
I don't mind gore, but if it's too much, it makes me uncomfortable.
That's fine. And I like it. The more the merrier. Because I love practical effects. And I love the behind the scenes to find out how they did everything and how they made everything. So for me, I actually do like it. And Nemesis, if I remember, you're a fan of the Terrifier movies, right?
I certainly am. Terrifier 2 has some of the practical gore I've ever seen in a movie. It's fantastic, but it would be way too much for Gorilla and most of our panelists.
Yeah,
why not?
I understand they're making a third one as well.
I hope so. Man, it would be a shame if they did.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it costs them very little to make, and they make a lot of money. I mean, it's a great return on investment.
Well, it was mostly just crowdsourced, right? And
Yep.
Well, when you make them dirt cheap and makes a lot of money, that's a good business model.
Well, then it helps too, even though it's dirt cheap. It helps when it's actually watchable and good. And the reason why I say that is Blumhouse. They tend to make low-budget movies that are bad and are not interesting or not worth watching. But
not only that, like Uwe Boll as a
Go ahead.
Uwe Boll as a director comes to mind too. When it comes to making cheap movies, he makes very awful, terrible video game
horrible
movies.
Yes, like House of the Dead and that kind of. I mean, the guy is terrible.
Oh,
and he's so bad. He's so bad that when people call him on it and say, "Hey, your movies suck," he wants to box them. He wants to actually fight them and say, "Well, I'll fight you and I'll kick your butt." I mean, that's how dumb he is.
Have you guys done any of his movies on the panel?
No, and I won't.
Nope. I don't plan on it.
I've got too much respect for my subscribers that I'm not going to lower their intelligence by putting on such tripe as that. I have certain standards.
So Gorilla does bad movies only, right? Or does he do good movies as well? Because I figured
he does good movies on Sundays, like he just did Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome yesterday.
I mean, because
the day before.
Because in his panels, they always talk about bad movies. I figured he probably did a few Uwe Boll movies on his panels for review, since he does bad movies.
I don't know if he knows who that is. Do you know who Uwe Boll is, Gorilla?
Uwe Boll?
Yeah.
Sounds like something I take a toke from.
So you haven't heard of him then? You haven't heard of him?
Hey-o.
Huh.
No,
he hasn't.
In simple terms, he's a lousy German director that makes bad movies, video game movies.
The whole reason he makes the bad movies is it's a money laundering thing. The German government allows for people who write movies to use it as a tax write-off, so he'll make the shittiest movie possible just in order to make money.
Yeah, kind of like Rob Zombie. And he reminds you of Rob Zombie a lot. And Paul W.S. Anderson. The WS stands for Without a Script.
Yeah. And for me, the bad movies are mostly just Thursday. They're for cringe stocks just so we can mock and laugh at them. Or every once in a while, I like to review stuff also that I have never seen before, so I can have like a first impression look at it. And I've had a couple good ones and a couple bad ones I picked.
Well, then you're gonna love the Uwe Boll movies if you ever review one of his bad movies, you're gonna love it. Love to hate it.
Now, is it subtitled or is it in English?
It's in English.
Okay. Because I got a couple rules for my Saturday reviews.
Yeah,
There.
like what are some good bad? I just forgot his name. What are some bad movies of him that you can recommend for Gorilla to check out? For the director?
Well, like you mean like House of the Dead? You're talking about You Bull, right?
Yeah, like for Gorilla to review on Bad Movie Thursday.
Well, you got to remember, Gorilla's not really into a lot of gore, so you have to give him a good reason to watch it. And I don't know if it being a bad movie is going to be a good enough reason. That would be up to him to decide.
Well, do you know of any bad Uwe Boll movies for him to check out then for Thursdays?
I don't know. What about you, Nemesis?
Nah, not really.
But
So one of the things that
I never really watched them. That's why are his movies. I never really watched
Same
them.
here. That's why I couldn't tell you. I just that's part of my life that I'm not going to taint and sour by wasting time watching his stuff.
yeah, why waste that when we could watch Hammer horror movies like this one?
Yeah, there's so many good movies out there.
Yeah.
And but Gorilla, I wanted to say with that Mega Quake, I mean, yes, bad movie, but it was fun too to watch it. It was entertaining. I mean, it was so bad. It's one of those that's so bad that we had a lot of laughs out of it. So that was a good experience.
Or so bad it's good.
No, it wasn't so bad. It was good. We just had fun mocking it. Is what it was.
Yeah, so it was a good time. In other words.
Yeah, and what I thought, I mean, we were almost there. It was almost like watching MST3K. Are you guys familiar with that?
Sadly, no. I haven't seen it.
Yep. I'm aware.
So Nemesis knows. How about you, Gorilla?
I never watched it.
Well, they showed bad movies and they would mock it as they were showing it, similar to like what we were doing for your Mega Quake. But sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Do you mean Mystery Science Theater 3000? If so,
yes.
I have heard of them. I haven't heard the abbreviated part before the way you said it.
Yeah, it's Mystery Science Theater 3000, but they're called MST3K for short because it's such a long title. But yeah, what they do is they mock movies, and I wanted to explain this, Gorilla. You might have a good thing going on there on Thursday. If you could, let me try to explain this. Okay, usually when they show movies that they mock, like on MST3K, you guys know what a quip is, right? QUIP. A quip is for example, like if you're watching a movie and somebody will throw in a quick comment that's like one sentence. And then somebody else will throw in a quick comment. And then somebody else will and they're all funny. Combined together, it makes the experience funny. So, especially if you have multiple people, obviously. So let's say you've got, 4 or 5 people. And you're watching like we were watching Mega Quake. And then when somebody yells out about, oh, look at the building is doing this. And then somebody else yells out, about the lady's bad makeup. And then somebody else yells out about, whatever. And then when you can do that and sustain it, it's relatively funny and it's entertaining.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I was going to say we should probably get started here pretty soon.
Well, I know, but
thank you, Gorilla.
Well, all right, well, disregard. I was just trying to give you suggestions.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying there.
Yeah, but I didn't get it. I didn't say it. I didn't get a chance to.
Well, you said the quip, but what else were you saying about it?
Well, if people knew to only give quips, like let's say we're all watching. Let's say tonight we're watching a bad movie, and we decide, okay, we're going to laugh at this. We're going to make fun of it. The way to do it is we all have to agree that no one person talks over everybody. So, like one person throws out a quick joke, another one throws out another quick joke, and another one throws out a joke, another one throws out a quick joke. That's how you do it. That's how you keep it funny. But if you have one person who says, oh, yeah, I remember this movie reminds me of blah, 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 and they go on and on and on, that ruins the experience for everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's what was going on during Mega Quake. It's like it was funny, but then there's always somebody, I don't want to say any names if it's anybody off, but they would go in and just start talking over everybody, and they would continuously go on and on and on. And when that happens, it sort of ruins the experience, and you lose the momentum of the humor. But you have to. The best thing to do, maybe one of these days, we can do a watch party of we'll pick an MST3K movie and do a watch party, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But I just basically want to give you a suggestion for your Thursday. That if you tried it, I think it would do well because you had a lot of people on your panel, a lot of viewers in your chat. So I think you're onto something there, Gorilla.
Yeah, I think I found my next pick. Okay,
what's that?
All right, but let's just get on the movie. I'll tell you later.
Okay, so here we go. We are beginning our movie. Like I said, so we are Dracula, Prince of Darkness, starring Christopher Lee from 1966. And about a month or so, no, it would be a month before last, actually, because 1 month we're doing Dracula, the next month we're doing Frankenstein, which we did, and now we're back to our second Dracula movie. And like I said, this takes place 10 years after the last movie we watched, where Van Helsing was able to destroy Dracula when he ripped the curtains out of the window. So that's kind of like a recap. He ripped the curtains out of the window, thereby exposing the sunlight to Dracula, and then he burned up, and all that was left on the floor was his ashes, which blew away, and then it just showed his signet ring. And now we have 10 years later. So this takes place in the same castle. In fact, here we go. We do get a recap of that movie.
Plus, it also shows how clever Van Helsing is in this scene, too.
Absolutely. And he is sorely missed in the sequel, unfortunately. I'm a big fan of Peter Cushing, but I can understand he can't be in all of them.
Yeah, with his tight schedules and all that.
Oh, yeah, he was already busy doing other movies at the time. And, of course, my player is going to lock up. Why not? Yeah,
that's okay.
Right at the very beginning.
Here it is.
Exactly. Get it out of the way. So hello to Gap After Dark. Hello, Taylor Swift greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU.
Hey, guys.
Let's go through the chat there.
Go for it while I'll show the frames on the recap.
Sci-fi says, hey there, Sedan. Sorry, Pop. Bit of a crisis on here, over here at the moment. Sorry to hear about that, Sedan. And hey there, Taylor Swift. Yeah, Sedan's having a crisis right now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And Pickles is waving. Hey, Gap's waving. Welcome, Gap. All right, that's all our chats.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Van Helsing fakes being choked to death right here.
Yeah.
And here's where he rips off the curtains, of course. And there's Dracula getting exposed to the sun. Oops. And we get him disintegrating.
And Gap says that's a movie.
And that's the end of the last movie. And here we are with now the sequel. By the way, sequels back then were very rare. So this is highly unusual. But I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they carried it on and told the tale, more of it. Right, we get in our introduction to the cast.
Is the actress Barbara Shelley related to the author of the Frankenstein novel?
Probably not. I haven't looked that up, but I don't know. That name is pretty common. But you'll notice here that what I like about this also is the credits are blood red. They're the same color as the blood in the movie. And I like that. And of course, this is based on characters created by Bram Stoker. So what we're doing, and by the way, Terence Fisher was a very established, one of Hammer's good stock directors. We'll be seeing a lot of him.
Was Hammer known for pretty decent budget movies, or were they known for their low budget movies like other studios?
No, they had pretty good production values. At the time, I mean, let's say 1966, in comparison, I would say a lot of the movies coming out of the United States was, a lot of them were poor budgeted, low budgeted, I guess, not really poor budgeted, but low budgeted B movies. A lot of them were made directly for the drive-in fare. I mean, every now and then you get a few of them that stand out, but I would say Hammer tended to be more higher budgeted than a lot of the American-made movies, and that's why they did so well over here in the States, because people, they knew when they were going to see a Hammer movie that it meant quality. Now we have a funeral, and apparently the mother is watching.
Yeah, the folks are too paranoid.
Oops.
Well, understandably.
You gotta fix that, Pops. There you go.
No, I thought I had retrieved the subtitles. I usually have the subtitles all ready to go, and it looks like I don't have. Hold on, I think I do. Give me a moment here.
Did it come with subtitles?
No, I have to retrieve them usually separately, and I don't see them, so I'll get them. Okay, I'll do them as we're doing the stream, like maybe when we get caught up on the next chats. I'll grab the subtitles. It'll take me a minute. I don't want you guys to have to listen to just dead silence while I'm doing that. So now we have a funeral to get ready to bury this girl, and they're ready. They've got their stake and hammer. And the mother is putting up a fight. She doesn't want them to do that, which is understandable. And by the way, you guys know back in the old days, they did actually, this was a habit. They would do this to people, right? They actually did believe they did believe that people came back from the grave.
Now, this before or after they had the night watchman listening for ringing bells?
Before. Yeah, well before.
Yes. So we're talking, I'm guessing, like 15th, 16th, 17th century. So now we have a priest here who fires a gun, who is our protagonist in the movie. He's the good guy.
Yeah.
And he interrupts
He's an
them
abbot.
Yes, thank you.
He didn't practice gun safety. You never shoot in the air, because what goes up must come down.
Yeah, but you shot at an angle. It'll be fine.
Right. And besides, it'll hit somebody that's off screen, so who cares, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's actually one movie, since Gorilla brought it up. I'm not a fan of the director, but there's a director named Woody Allen, and but personally, he's a nasty guy. He was Me Too because of nasty things that he did to his daughter. But he made a comedy once. I don't remember which one it was, but it was these two guys. They were doing a duel, where they stand back to back and then they do 10 paces and they turn and shoot each other. And it was, like I said, it was a comedy. And what he did was, in the movie, one of the guys shot directly up in the air. And then he started talking, blah, 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 blah. And the bullet came down and hit him in the shoulder. So they actually did that in the movie. They did cover that once, where the bullet came down and hit somebody. And by the way, while I'm gabbing, I'm getting the subtitles up ready for this. How are we doing on the chat, Gorilla? We have any?
Oh, we've been pretty much caught up there. We got Geth that shot at an angle, then gives us a winky. Nemesis gives us a winky face.
Excellent.
Oh, he's laughing too. He's laughing at it. Shot at an angle, laughing.
That's right. He found my comment humorous.
All right, and I'm almost there. I'm just getting the subtitles here, and I'm hoping there's like 3 or 4 different versions of the subtitles. I'm hoping I grabbed the right one the first time. There we go.
That's okay. So one of the things that I've found...
You mean we're not going to have our Gilligan's Island?
We are.
No.
There it is.
Yay!
Hey.
One of the things that I found about this film is that the music does a lot of heavy lifting.
Oh yeah, the
And
movie. Yes, go ahead.
I find it to be almost a little overly bombastic at times.
And I would agree with that. I noticed it too. Very, very in your face and loud, very loud.
And overly
Yes.
dramatic too. Overly
Yeah, like
dramatic.
they're trying to make up for scenes that are kind of going slow, so they're gonna like really increase it. You know, it's like the modern day version of the shaky cam. When there's not a lot going on the screen, you've got the music really going overboard.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that in some of our older films, like even in the 50s Blob, it was just like they'd have the music just going and like nothing's really happening on screen. You're just like, okay, I mean, whatever,
Right.
I'll take it.
Right. It's like the director's standing there next to the music guy saying, "Come on, add something. Come on, I don't want everybody falling asleep. Come on, kick it up a notch."
All right, we got subtitles. Yay. So yeah, we have the abbot and the priest arguing because like at this point the abbot just kind of seems like a dick, but like
He's basically telling them, "You guys are primitive. You don't have to do that. Let me take care of the burial."
and here we have our introduction to our wealthy English family.
Yes, we do. Getting drunk and partying on.
I wish I could afford to buy the entire bar couple of rounds.
I know, because that's what they say. Another round for everybody. I'm like, yeah, I want to go there.
3 rounds. They bought 3 rounds.
Well, things were a lot cheaper back then.
Well, not only that,
They're
though,
also-
I mean, it's obviously fiction, because how often are you going to get rich people that actually buy other people things for free?
Well, they
I've
don't
never
want
heard of
to.
it. Yeah, exactly. They never do that. That's why they're rich. It's usually people that are moderate with not very much money are the ones that are the most gracious.
Well, and I also think they were trying to establish that this is our good main character here out of the family. Is he's like his whole speech was that I did this for me. Because they're all like, they're laughing at you. They think you're a fool. And he's like, I don't give a shit. I did it because I wanted to. No one else. Not for anyone else.
Right.
He's like, and it's
self-satisfaction.
Well, plus he's trying to impress. He wants to impress them. They are the locals, and these people are passing through.
Yeah.
Or to see what I do is for my own satisfaction, like Nemesis said.
Yeah.
Actually, I said that.
Yeah, he's
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
smug.
Sorry, Suzanne.
He's a little
That's all
smug in the scene.
And here we have Mr. Party Pooper coming in.
And then some exposition laced into the dialogue.
Yes. Ladies, may I warm myself by your fire?
trying to provide a small bit of levity to the abbot's character because he's very serious. And the actor does it very well. Like he's a fantastic character for the moments that he is on screen. Once again, we were talking about presence backstage, and I have to find the abbot's name or actor's name, but yes, he has it, as well as Christopher Lee, of course.
The actor, it's Keir. I know his last name is Keir. Andrew Keir.
There we go. Thank you, Pop.
Yep. As Father Sandor. Yes. Okay, here we go. And of course, once again, like all the other movies, these people are on a journey and they are warned not to go to their destination, but they don't listen to it because, I mean, we wouldn't have a movie without it, right?
Yeah,
Well, they sort of listen, but the horses take them there anyway.
Well, that's kind of like when someone tells you not to Google something, like, don't ever Google alien movie from 1992. You know people are just going to do it, even though you told them not to.
Yes.
Of course. It's the forbidden knowledge.
Yeah.
And I mean, ultimately, because they're on. Sorry, as they were on a schedule, as they were saying, they're going to hit this, they're on that. So they're basically they're on vacation, touring around.
Yes. And I want to remind everybody, I know you've heard it before, but I'll say it again. We're not able to show every frame in the movie, or I'll get a copyright warning, so we've got to skip so many seconds. So I definitely highly encourage you to watch this on your own so we don't spoil it for you. So we're just generally covering the movie. So that's why you won't see us reading a lot of the lines or the text on the screen. That is why we supply the text so that you, the viewer, can read it if you so choose. So this is what's funny. They get out here by this old woodcutter's hut. And like these rich people are actually going to stay inside that old hut. I mean, they don't even... It's like, yeah, right.
Well, the one woman wanted to.
Yeah, one woman did.
Yeah. Beats me. Well, I mean, it's A, go to the spooky castle, B, stay in the crappy hut, or B, stay out in the woods. And I mean...
What I want to know is why didn't they tear that castle down after Dracula was defeated in the last movie?
Good old-fashioned superstition.
I think, yeah, because I think everyone fears it. What they could have done, I guess, when you think about it, they could have hired an outside contractor, somebody from the outside who is not aware of what's going on, to go in there and destroy it. But I think it's generally the townspeople fear it and they don't want to go near it.
Yeah, I got an easier way. Trebuchet.
Right?
A trebuchet.
Well, this is, of course, but like, you got to think about the logistics of bringing trebuchets through the forest, Gorilla. But we also find out that there are still people at the castle, though, like, and not only at the castle, but dotted throughout what I'm going to believe, they're all throughout Europe, that are still loyal to Dracula one way or the other.
Well, that makes sense because he's hundreds of years old.
Right?
Right.
And
he's got...
And he has mortal families through generations that have them loyal to him, too.
Yes. And here we have the driver of the coach saying, I'm not going there. So, you got to have that, of course. And the tourists are like, well, you promised you would. And he said, well, basically he's saying, I don't give a shit. I'm not going. Of course, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. Oh, welcome, Scurvy.
Hello, Lemon Pie. Good to see you. Welcome. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, this would be a good time to catch up on chats.
Lemon!
And LDG says, I beat my Uber Eats ban. Only guy I can know who can get banned from Uber Eats. And Captain's Chinese subtitles. And he goes, wow, LDG, how? And apparently he just lied to him. Then Gap's laughing at LDG. Asked if I was LDG, and I said no. Awesome, okay. LDG. Victory! Then here Scurvy says, hey, Dracula fans. And he got the draw on you, Nemesis.
He sure did. He sure did.
Yeah, they say hail to all of us. Then I don't know what you put in here. Something about limit scurvy and bacteria thing.
No, it's a skull and crossbones gorilla. It was just to represent that Scurvy got the draw on me, and I'm dead.
Okay.
You mean the drop? D-R-O-P. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, totally got the drop on me. Bang, kabam.
Yeah, Gap says, you drinking beer blood there tonight, Scurvy? And he says, yeah. All I can say is that it says beer. So basically he's drinking water. Gap's laughing. And welcome, DVB.
Hello, DVB.
Hail, DVB.
Welcome.
Hope all is well. And Carolyn Gap says, hey, Deb. Oops, DVB. All right, we're all caught up.
And you know
so
what?
One of the things that we didn't get to talk about beforehand, sorry, we can talk in a second, sit down, was the set design in the bar. I really like the set design, and we'll see in the castle too, because of course we've seen it in the first film, so it's nice to come back and revisit it. But that initial set in the actual bar was really well done. There was a lot of really nice mantelpieces, a lot of real props that you would actually, people would use back then. It was nice.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I liked about Hammer. Yeah, they were very, very, their authenticity was very, very acute, and I appreciated it. That's one other thing that's made their production stand above a lot of the other ones.
And while watching this movie for the Rich Englishman, I was kind of like, that guy kind of looks familiar, but it can't be. And I said, that guy kind of looks like Mr. B a little bit. The Rich Englishman, he does.
Mr. Who?
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, no, Mr. B, from the comic actor that plays Mr. B. I don't know his name. I do know the character he plays.
Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson.
If that's the actor's name, because they do look similar. They do.
When you say Mr. B, do you mean Bean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Rowan Atkinson. Definitely not him in the movie.
Yeah, but they look similar, though they do.
Yeah, I guess there is a little bit of similarity.
I wonder if they're related.
Well, I don't know. Mr. Bean is played by an actor named Rowan Atkinson, and I don't see that name in the cast here anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Regardless, anyways. So they think they're getting robbed, but like they're not. But he's just like, and this whole thing started is because he broke a wheel and they lost 4 hours having to fix it.
Yes.
Otherwise, they would have just drove right past here.
Right, and he's telling them that he's not going to go any further, and they're saying, "Look, the castle's right there." They saw it from a distance, and he denies, saying, "I don't see a castle." And they're just saying, "What are you talking about? It's right there." And he's like, "I don't see a castle," because he refuses to go. He doesn't even want to look at it.
He's scared. That's why.
Yes.
And he smacks the dude and pulls a knife on him, and he's like, and still refusing to look at the castle. And they're like, "Oh, he's robbing us." And he just jumps up here and throws their luggage down. He's like, "I'll come back for you tomorrow if any of you are alive."
2 hours after dawn, to be precise.
Yes.
That's right.
And then they even say, "Well, I guess we're not getting robbed then."
Small virtues.
And some levity to that, too.
And he takes off. Darn it, leaving in the middle of nowhere. Now they're deciding what they're going to do. See, he wasn't a robber, so that's kind of funny there. And of course, now being tourists and they're not from the area, they don't know why he's frightened. He basically, they should be able to tell by the way he's reacting, but they're looking at it like, well, it's just local superstition. And that's where they're recommending. There it is. And they're saying you wouldn't even look at the place. And they're saying maybe we could stay there. They're talking about the old woodcutter's shed. There it is. And she's the one saying, "Okay, I can do that."
Yeah,
she's the only one with sense.
The older gal.
Well, yeah, because obviously he realized it's better than staying out in the elements all night long.
And she understands.
Go ahead.
She understands. She looks at the castle and knows there's something wrong with it. She's reading the situation a lot better than anyone else is.
Yes, the women are actually smarter than the men in this movie.
Yes.
Which is kind of true in real life too, sadly.
No, I wouldn't. Well, I don't know. It's possible.
In different ways.
I was going to say, but without being woke. Because these days they do it just to be woke, but it's different in this movie. Here we get the arrival of another carriage. There's no driver.
Again, it's plot convenience too.
Well, no, actually, there's a reason for it in the Dracula movies.
Yeah. Do you want to explain it, Pop?
Well,
or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, it's a supernatural thing, right? Like these horses they go to the castle and they obey Dracula's will. Because it's Dracula's stagecoach itself. It's the one that travels around.
Right. Supposedly, because Dracula can turn into bats, wolves, and things like that, he supposedly has power over animals.
And mist too, if you read up on the lore on him.
Yes. And we'll see. By the way, we'll see a couple of other things introduced in this movie that previously to this movie were not part of the vampire lore. So that's another good thing about these movies. If you watch them in progression, you'll see them adding things more and more to the vampire lore as they proceed. And I'll talk about that when we get there. Of course, they're wondering, why is there nobody driving the coach? But they figure, why not? Let's hop on board. All those hat boxes. Geez, the vanity of these people.
Yeah, you guys say that this is like what Dracula does with his carriage and all that, but it's also plot convenience in movies too. Sadly, like that. I mean, I don't mind plot convenience, but it gets kind of contrived over time, though.
Well, if you've seen the original Nosferatu, Dracula had a carriage that the horses, he would send them on missions to do things. And there were also scenes where he was driving the carriage himself.
Yeah.
So this goes as far back as like Nosferatu, the first Dracula movie.
Yeah, back in the 1920s.
Yeah. 22.
All right, should we catch up on chat real quick?
Perfect
Hell
idea,
yeah.
Gorilla. Thank you.
Gap says, look at those period costumes and scenery. Yeah, they knew how to dress back then. And
Dude, right, Cap?
Yeah, DVB
Three-piece
says,
suit, right. Three-piece suit with a cape and everything. Oh, yeah, they were definitely wearing a lot of clothing.
yeah. And DVB says, yeah, Mr. Bean is cool. And
Yeah, he
Scurvy
is.
says, I was leaving the mystery to it. It says beer, maybe it's blood. It's laughing at Scurvy here. And Scurvy says, Mr. Bean wants to suck your blood.
Mr. Bean wants to suck your blood.
And Gap's laughing and goes, and Gap's asking, was that a matte painting or a real castle? You can
Matte
tell
painting.
the matte, yeah, you can tell the matte painting.
Yeah.
And that's all the chats.
Thank you, Gorilla. And what happens is they board the carriage, and then for some unknown reason, the horses decide just to take their own path. This guy here is trying to steer them and whip them and everything, but they're not paying any attention to him, and they're taking them against their will. See, they're going the wrong way.
I find it kind of odd since Dracula's dead. How does his power still work, even though he's dead or destroyed?
Well, because maybe these horses have been around longer than he's been dead. Possibly. I don't know.
It's a mystery that will never be solved.
And this is a set.
They could very well just be trained to only go to this place, that place, right? Like we're about to meet one of the best characters in the film coming up here.
Yes. And that could be right, kind of like homing pigeons. They're probably trained to go from one location to another. So here's they decide, well, the horses brought us here, so let's disembark and see what we got. The women are very weary, of course. I don't blame them.
And the characters even acknowledge how convenient it is for everything to be set up.
Yes. And they even say it's almost like we were expected. And considering the Dracula's been dead 10 years, it looks pretty clean. And you've got fresh candles burning. So there's obviously somebody's been taking care of the castle.
And we'll know why in a few minutes.
Yes. What now? They're standing around, they finally decide, well, might as well go inside, I guess. And she said, well, if you'd listen to me back at the crossroads, you wouldn't be in this state now.
Well, you know what I was thinking this whole time while I was seeing all this?
What's that?
It's a trap!
Very likely. And of course, if this was a modern day movie, they would be a bunch of stupid teenagers.
Right? And it's Diana's the mom, right? Because there's Diana and Helen.
No,
Ben and Helen, right? I'm
She's
not
not
sure
a
which one's
mom, is
older.
she? She's not a mom, is she? The one
Well,
in
sorry, the older one, Gorilla. My bad.
well, she's a mom. She'd be a granny.
Yeah, I'm not sure their ages. I don't know if they established that or not. And now we have Helen is being hesitant. No, we can't stay here. So she doesn't like the smell of it from the beginning.
She's overly cautious and for good reason.
Right. Women's intuition, I guess you could say. And she's even warning them about don't go upstairs. But of course, the men aren't listening. And that's exactly what he does do. Go up and take a look. And the first thing he notices is the beds are all made, ready to be used, but also somebody has been removing their luggage from the carriage and bringing it up into the rooms. And there's recalled. Of course, they leave the women downstairs. And of course, they figure, well, don't worry, you stay down here, and us men will deal with it upstairs here. So he calls his friend there, and he tells him about the luggage, and he says, yeah, our luggage is here, and yours is in the room next door.
No, this is his luggage right here. That's why he called him up specifically. He's like,
It's the older brother. It's the older brother's luggage in that room, and then when he goes into the other room, it's his own luggage and his wife's luggage.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
They're brothers?
Yes, they're brothers.
Got it. Thank you.
And the one in the tan suit there, he's the older brother.
yes, and he's married to Helen, the one with the
black
green dress. Yeah, the one who's
Yeah.
very weary and susceptible to
Right.
everything that's going on. And then the other one is Diana.
The brunette, the blonde.
Yes.
And,
Now
there's
And
the
here we
butler.
have
The butler.
Clove, my favorite character in the film.
Now,
that dramatic lighting, of course.
Was that supposed to be like a joke, as in garlic clove?
I don't know. But I remember when we watched the first movie, I was talking then, and it's like, okay, I wonder who's doing all the cooking and the cleaning and everything. I can't imagine Dracula doing that. Well, now we know he actually had Clove working. It's just that we weren't introduced to his character in that first movie yet. And of course, they have not used what he is, but they have not used the term is Dracula's familiar. And I'm not sure exactly where that term was introduced into vampire lore, but I know they use it now all the time.
Well, a familiar is someone that's either bitten by a vampire or is under the influence but has not fully turned.
Right.
Yeah, whether it's by spell or they don't even have to be under their influence. It just has to be someone working for the vampire.
Yes. Of course, that the meeting Clove does not help these women's suspicions at all. You can tell by the look on her face; she is definitely not liking this.
Well, the brunette is, but the blonde trusts him.
But the blonde is getting a little more susceptible.
Diana, the blonde, is all for it, but Helen, the redhead, is not.
Correct. That's quite the elaborate meal, too.
Don't worry, he is fattening them up for Dracula to eat.
That's what I wonder. I wonder if that's one of Dracula's orders, right? Is make sure they're well fed. And they
Well, I'm also wondering.
Tastes good. Go ahead.
Maybe there's also something to help people sleep in this as well, because almost everyone doesn't wake up except for Helen, which we'll get there when we get there. But he's serving soup, right? It's a liquid.
Uh-huh. Very likely, very likely. Well, plus they're giving wine and other things, so it is very likely that they're slipping a Mickey into their stuff.
What's a Mickey?
Drug. That's just a slang for a drug to like knock you out or something like that.
Okay.
Or just
It's the same as getting roofied.
Right, instead of roofie, because roofie is a specific drug.
But yeah, once again, really nice to be back in Castle Dracula. Just love all the set designs, like all the candle holders, everything. It's just, God, it's beautiful.
Yep, very ornate.
Right? Those chairs.
Yes, their attention to detail is amazing.
And it shows you the age of the castle too.
Yes.
Like this is an ancient place that has a lot of history to it.
A lot of history, no electricity, obviously. Everything's candlelit.
Here we have Clove asking if they need anything for the night. Otherwise, he's going to retire. And she still wants to go. She wants to get out of here now. He doesn't care.
Right.
And she's the only smart
her.
one.
Yes, I don't blame her a bit.
Yeah.
To which he sort of sarcastically retorts, "Well, if we listen to you, we would not be more than 2 miles outside of London then."
And of course, his excuse is, well, we're already here. Let's just go ahead and spend the night and we'll leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, hell no.
Talk about spending the night. Should we catch up on chat?
Sounds great. Thank you, Gorilla.
All right, where did I leave off at here? Let's see. DV says, funny how people that call themselves woke are actually asleep, Pops.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And Oiler Greg says, Hammer Hoarder, greetings to you all. Welcome, Oiler Greg.
Hey, OG.
Hey, welcome. Hello.
Gap says, LL, understand. He says, hey. And how do bats carry luggage? Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed, that we haven't seen them change into bats I thought that was part of the lore.
It is, and no, we have not seen that yet in these movies.
They just have to have a little tiny luggage. Or does his clothes shrink down with him?
No, Clove unpacked the luggage.
No. Like when Dracula turns into a bat, does his outfit shrink down into bat-sized form?
I guess so.
Does he have a little? Right? I don't know.
No, he's going in the knee. He's going in the buff.
That's like
oh,
Superman.
there you go.
Right,
As
like
a bat,
Superman.
yes. As a bat,
Right.
yes.
Like Superman.
Oh, or it's like
when Clark Kent changes into Superman, what does he do with his clothes?
Or it's like the Flash, where it goes into a signet ring that we saw in the last movie.
Hey, well, Pop, the answer to that, the homeless people need clothes too.
That's true.
All right, Oiler Greg says, I trusted Diana already. She's blonde. Blonde lover, Oiler? He goes, not great benefits working for a vampire.
No, you're right about that.
Perhaps Lemon. And Scurvy here says, right, do they get sick pay or vacation? The Gap's laughing.
That's another thing you notice in these movies is Dracula always despises his assistants. He really can't stand them. But they're under a spell. They will die for him.
Here, Nemesis, want to read this one?
DVB says, with the bat luggage cart, trademarked.
All right, so Gap here says, beautiful sets. Oh, yeah, it was really nicely designed. And then Oiler Greg says, flip Gorilla, Mickey, and it will have zero effect. Agreed, Gap.
He's so used to it, he developed a
Gap's
resistance
laughing.
to them.
All right, we're good. We're all caught up.
So here we have, later on that evening, Helen is awakened because she hears noise out in the hallway. So she wakes up her husband.
He she hears her name called. She hears somebody call her name.
That's right. First, she thinks it's her husband. She said, "Did you call my name?" And he says, "No." And she said, "Well, somebody did." That's right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, no worries.
That's why I'm glad you guys here to correct me.
Well, and Helen seems to be one of the most susceptible to everything. Like I've said it before, but she's very susceptible to everything that's going on. Yes. Dracula's influence, the curse, everything.
Very sensitive, yes.
She's very cautious too.
Then her husband Alan peeks out the door, and he sees Clove with a suitcase or trunk, I guess you could say.
Oh, he's coming out of the brothers' room with his suitcase.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lock the door. Is that a good idea? Locking her in the room? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, come on, if there's any bad guys. Yeah, if there's any bad guys, they're going to have the key to that room.
And we know it's a castle from the 1800s, so we know there's a secret entrance into that room.
There's got to be, right?
You know, I would not mind owning a house that had like all those secret passageways and entrances with the hidden what do you call the office thing? What they call it, office?
Hidden passages and rooms.
Well, yeah, but they always have like that hidden office with all the books and all that.
A library.
The library.
A study.
Yeah. The study, yeah, hidden study.
Or a hidden bunker, in other words.
Well, I suppose if you could afford a house that big, paying the utility bill wouldn't be so bad, because it would be enormous trying to cool it in the summer and heat it in the winter.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Those castles are known for being very cold.
You better have a big ass fireplace.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they have like 50 of them.
Yeah, there's like a fireplace in every room. And once again, I just love all the swords on the walls, right? Like just tons and tons of swords.
Well, it sort of shows that this castle has a history of warfare too. That's why.
Yes, and also Dracula's bloodline. So he notices the mural is moving or blowing in the wind. So he moves it aside to find out there's our hidden passage, which he follows down. And he sees Dracula's cape laying out. And of course, nothing suspicious there. He just keeps looking around. Oh, Dracula, nothing there. And you guys got to remember, we know what the name Dracula means, but these people don't. All as far as they know, because they were told that the castle belongs to some guy named Dracula who's been dead 10 years. But that's the extent of the word Dracula to them. They don't really know everything like we do as the audience. Otherwise, obviously, at this point, we'd be in full panic mode and getting the hell out of there. And here we have, let's see if I can catch this.
An early reference to Psycho.
Yes.
No, of course.
This is actually
Psycho came first.
Yes, I think by about a year or two. I think Psycho may have been 65. I think
60.
60. Thank you. And Clove claims his first victim.
Yeah, because I covered that for our horror or our October Horror Fest there.
Yeah, you did like all 4 of them, didn't you?
Yeah, because I had to actually look it up because there was the remake in '97.
Oh, that horrible one with Vince Vaughn. Did you show that one?
Which is basically just a shot-for-shot remake of it, basically.
Right, a shot-for-shot remake, and just remove all the talent.
Oh, and heck, they ruined it in one shot. There's one shot that ruined the whole damn movie.
Kind of remake Alfred Hitchcock. That's as stupid as when they tried to remake Poltergeist. Like trying to remake a Steven Spielberg movie, yeah, a lot of brains there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but never know. We'll talk about it a different time. Love that painting behind him, though. Oh my gosh.
I like that flag. I wonder if I could buy that flag. So if they can't do crosses, why was that flag over top of it with the cross on it?
I think that's a shrine of some sort. It looks almost like a chapel.
Yeah, I was talking about the flag, though, that blue flag with the yellow cross on it.
Right. But that's why I'm thinking maybe it's part of this shrine here. Maybe it's part of like a chapel. Some of those castles had a chapel back then. But we know, of course, we know. I know you're thinking it's like, well, why would they have a cross if it's Dracula's castle? But maybe it's like part of the ritual.
I'm thinking it's just the Carpathia national flag or something like that.
I'll look it up.
There you go.
So here we have Clove getting ready. He hung up Alan by the ankles. Alan is now dead, stabbed in the back.
And now he's just, well, to put it bluntly, basically a piece of meat now.
Yes. And Clove bring this box forward here, which apparently is Dracula's ashes. So somehow he was able to scoop the ashes up 10 years ago after the end of the first movie. I guess they were just all over the floor. Maybe all you had to do was sweep it up.
Right, because that's not a lot of ashes, considering. Right. So, yeah, he must have just, he was able to find enough. And here we have him gutting him like a pig, and out comes the blood. Amazing. Right, Gorilla? Right, Gorilla?
Yes.
Looks pretty real.
Our hammer blood.
It looks pink to me.
Pink?
Pink?
I don't know about pink. It looks red.
Like vibrant red.
It's orange red to me. It's orange red.
It looked pink when I was watching it.
It's orange red.
See, perception's funny.
I gotta say that this scene right here with how they did this effect was pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree.
Right, it's just a beautiful reverse shot.
So here we have Dracula being restored using the blood of dead Alan.
Yeah. Hey,
waiting anxiously nearby.
Yeah. I got a question. Are they close to Australia? Or not Australia? Austria?
Well, they're in Transylvania. They're in Transylvania. Transylvania is in well, if you go by your history, Transylvania was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire during that time.
Okay, this makes sense then. It's the flag of Asturias that they have.
It's mainly in Hungary. It's in Hungary. Yeah. In today's Hungary. Well, in today it's I think it's in Romania now. For today's map, it's in Romania.
Yeah. No, but it's just the flag of Asturias there. I don't know what the
cool.
The Austrian flag. Cool.
Thank you, Gorilla. So now we have Clove comes back and tells Helen, Madame, your husband. Right this way.
Of course, he knows that she's Dracula's little snack.
Right, and it's too bad because the whole time she's walking with Clove, she's not saying, well, what is it? Tell me, what are you doing? Why aren't you saying something? Say something. What is it? What is it? What is it? You know?
Oh, hey, I got a question, Pop. When they're bringing Dracula back to life and you can see him slowly changing there, do they have to do like a shot, do a little makeup, shot, do a little makeup, shot, do a little makeup? Is that how they did that effect?
Well, it's like Nemesis said. They started with a solid piece, and then they used heat to dissolve it, and then reversed the film.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
That old trope.
Did they use wax molds to do that scene as well, or not?
Yes, wax.
Because they used to use wax molds back then, I think they did.
And we get our reveal. And she's cowering in fear, supposedly.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how I felt about them not showing the husband hanging. Just
They
the
did.
shadow. No, they just showed the shadow, didn't they? Or did I blink and miss it?
I think you might have blinked and missed it. I could have swore they at least showed like the dead husband's face. And then here she is coming to the seduction powers of Dracula.
Here, let me give you a hickey.
Well, I mean, if it's anything like in the future that we see in the movie, I don't think that's what he does.
Now we have the next day, and you'd think they'd be in a little bit more of a panic mode, but they're just casually saying, "Oh no, haven't found them yet." All their luggage is gone. Well, maybe they left us, right? And then, meanwhile, and then they go back to that woodcutter's cottage. And of course, he's telling her he wants to go back to the castle. And she said, "No, let's just leave." But he said, "Nope, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look for them." And he tells her, "You wait here at this." And she's like, "Okay." And here he is returning back to the castle. And of course, he's calling out for Clove, the assistant. And here we are, Clove arrives where she is, saying, "Ma'am, it's your husband back at the castle. You must ride with me." And there's that trunk we saw from the night before.
I love the reflection of the stained glass in this shot in particular. Well, not in this shot, but just in this series of shots.
Yes, the lighting is magnificent.
And was that arm? Was that arm a woman arm or a man arm that was out of that trunk?
I think it was the husband. I think it was Alan.
Yeah, so I believe it's a man.
And that's the sun setting, by the way.
Setting fast.
Very fast, which means it's time for Dracula to wake up.
Now, does he get to sleep in on the weekends?
Always, right?
Nope. I'm pretty sure that's Dracula's coffin that he just opened up, and that's Dracula right there, right?
I think that's Dracula's crypt.
I think that was...
Yeah.
Wasn't that the trunk that he opened up with the arm hanging out?
Yeah.
No, it was a coffin.
Oh, well, the area where Dracula was sleeping is called a crypt. I think it is.
Yes. But what we were saying, anyways.
I trust you.
Well, thanks, Pops. Just like it looks like Diana is trusting
Clove. And once again,
right, and it's just like,
right, no questions for Clove. Like, well, what is this? What's going on? Where's my husband? What are you doing? Why aren't you saying anything? Obviously he's manipulating them. They don't see it. Come on, people, have half a brain.
They've also established earlier when it came to the abbot that they're pushovers. Anyone with a powerful presence, they'll basically cow underneath.
Yep. And
Clove is pretty domineering, I should say.
Yep, and the lighting has completely changed. Like upstairs in that balcony, it's all red now. And before it wasn't. So I think that's our little indication that Dracula may be alive. And here we have Helen. This is why I don't think it was her arm sticking out. I think that was Alan.
Well, it had the signet ring, didn't it? It was Dracula.
Dracula's arm sticking out of the trunk, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, it could be.
I'd have to go back and rewatch.
I found out that when it comes to vampires, there's two different types. There's the count version, and there's the seductress countess version. For the male vampires, they rely on power and strength, while the female vampires, they require on their charm and seduction skills. They play off each other pretty well when it comes to both genders.
When you think about them, they both seduce.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but women do it more often since the popular stereotype is that women are less physically strong than men are. That's why they use their seductive skills.
Yes, but I don't know if they've established. Now I know that according to the lore, if I have it correctly, that a vampire is supposed to be 10 times stronger than a mortal man, and I don't know how much stronger. Not yet.
No.
You mean not yet in lore or in the movie, or what do you? I'm not. What do you mean?
In our movie, in this Hammer lore so far, they are just as strong as another person. That's it.
Right, but what I was wondering when we get to the point where Dracula or the vampires are a lot stronger, like in Fright Night, are the women vampires stronger as well?
Huh.
Oh, for sure.
Just a sec. Welcome to Trusty Ape.
Hello, Trusty Ape. Good to see you, sir. He's been putting out
Trusty
some great
Ape.
he's been putting out some great videos on his channel lately. So yeah, when you get a chance, everybody check and subscribe to the Trusty Ape.
When it comes to supernatural creatures in general, even when they were a human, their strength generally does go up when they're supernatural creatures or they turn into supernatural creatures.
I think so, because they've established here that Dracula can easily choke somebody with one hand. Because that's
but he's Dracula, right?
Right.
Like this is a lesser vampire.
She hasn't fed yet. That's why.
No, but I'm saying is I think Dracula is stronger than a regular man in this movie.
I would agree with you on that one.
Plus, a newly turned vampire that hasn't fed yet, I think they're weaker than a vampire that's fully committed to their curse. Because when they're not fed yet or they're weak, they get weaker.
Right, and I wonder if they if you get bitten today and turn into a vampire, as the years progress, you get stronger. I wonder,
possibly.
Yeah, possibly, right?
Yeah, because
once again, it depends on the potency of the vampire, right? If you're bitten by Dracula, you're going to be way more powerful than someone who is like, if you were bitten by someone who is 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 bitten by Dracula, right?
Right.
Plus, it sort of depends on the lore of that universe too.
True. Which does vary depending on what movie or franchise you're watching.
And we have a magnificent shot of Christopher Lee.
And he is pissed.
Oh boy, is he ever. Ah!
And by the way, Christopher Lee could not see through those contact lenses.
Yep.
Right. And it's the same thing that, and I saw an interview and he said the same thing that Bruce Campbell said about Evil Dead. And that is when they wear those contact lenses, not only, they cannot see through them, but they're very irritating on the eye. So if you're wearing them, you tend to keep rubbing your eyes, and it's hard for you to keep your eyes open because they're itching. And the director's constantly going, wider, open your eyes wider. And Christopher Lee said it was the same thing. They had to keep yelling, keep your eyes open, wider.
It must have taken a lot of shots to just do that one shot.
Yes.
It's just so goofy. I just love how he runs down. It's just like, and I don't know. This part was unintentionally funny to me. And so once again, we have Helen trying to pull her seduction.
Yep.
Just like a vampire lady usually does.
Yeah, and they're very beautiful, of course.
That's the lore. They trap you through seduction.
Yep.
See how he can see with one hand how he can pretty much throw that guy around and choke him.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just think he could probably threw him off his guard if he would have just said, "Choke me harder, Daddy." Then he go throwing him off. And go, wait, what?
Well, when you think about it, you could probably snap their neck if he wanted to.
Well, I think Dracula just loves to play with his food. That's why.
Yes, that's another thing too. Is right. It's no fun.
So he's a cat.
And here they discover Dracula's weakness eventually.
I love it. He just grabs that sucker and just breaks it in half.
Well, and why would you go for an overhead swipe when you're well, I guess he doesn't know that you're supposed to pierce the heart of a vampire.
Yeah, he doesn't know any of that yet.
Plus, it shows how strong Dracula is by just breaking that sword like a twig.
Yep.
I mean, you can do that with any replica, though. Like if it's not a actual sword.
Yeah, but I'm guessing Dracula doesn't have replicas hanging around his castle. Those are probably the real thing.
Well, it's also a prop, and it probably was designed to break, but it's to emphasize how strong Dracula is, even though it's exaggerated.
Right, but I'm talking about in the lore of the movie. I don't think Dracula's going to have phonies hanging around.
Yeah, probably not.
And she's the first one that realizes it with the cross because it burns into Helen's arm.
The reason why is because they're unholy creatures.
And oh no, here comes Clove. There he is with that knife again. No good. Alan, I can't remember this guy's name. Alan's dead. Downstairs. Charles, let's leave.
David?
That's it. Charles,
there we go.
There we go.
Which, once again, like the sunlight is shining on them. Shouldn't they be?
Well, yeah. I
Anyways.
mean, didn't the sun just barely go down when Charles was downstairs? And now they're making, I don't know if this is supposed to be daylight or like moonlight.
Or a day for night shot.
Or day for night. That's what I'm saying. It could be day for night, which kind of throws you off there a little bit. I like that in that movie Gorilla showed that Mega Quake, where it showed a stock footage of the sun setting and dark, and then it cuts and then it's daylight again. They didn't even bother. They didn't even match up any of their shots in that movie. And he throws her down. This is what I was talking about. Is Dracula? He actually does not like his assistants. They're just there to serve him, and that's strictly it. So definitely no union there.
So it is dark because Dracula can't walk outside in the sunlight.
Yes, it's day for night. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I figured as much.
Very, very bright moonlight.
All right, should we catch up on chat?
Wonderful idea, sir. Thank you.
Gap says, Nemesis, you need a drill claw. Yeah, it looks like spaghetti sauce. And Scurvy here says, I believe Dracula is based on the historical figure Vlad the Impaler.
Yes,
who was to rule out trans. Yep.
That is
good old Vlad Tepesh.
Yeah, and in that country, he is a hero.
The party animal.
Yeah. The Joshi Ape is waving here. And Scurvy says he was brutal, but also had to spend half his life fighting the invading Ottoman Empire. I thought the first half of his life he was imprisoned by the Ottomans. But, and DVB says, the girl is a vampire. Scurvy says, despite all my rage, I'm still just a bat in a cage. And Screw says LOL limit and gets thumbs up with fire. So we're all caught up.
Thank you. So here we have the coach, unfortunately, crashes. So she's knocked out, and Charles picks her up here. And wisely so, he does not stop. He keeps on moving. And who do they meet up with? Thank goodness.
And he's disappointed.
I warned you not to go anywhere near that castle, Mr. Kent. Meanwhile, back at the rectory. And here's where we get our exposition. Explain to us the lore of vampires.
Hey, welcome, Cam.
Hello, Cam. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Cam. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Hello, Cam.
See, according to the lore here, he says vampirism was an undisputed fact. So he doesn't deny that it exists. So it's not like, it's all those old superstitious townsfolk. But he says that he thought that they'd all been killed off. No, he explains to them they're not dead, but they're undead.
Right? They can't be killed, but they can be destroyed.
And here's where he starts to list off the different ways they can be destroyed. So he's talking about the direct rays of the sun. And this is the movie that establishes, which he just mentions here. I don't know if they already showed it, but running water is another thing that vampires are afraid of. Stakes through the heart.
Right? The cross, stake through the heart, running water. Sunlight.
Do they mean by a body of water that's running water, or do they just mean by just like a river that's running like that, or just body of water in general?
He just says running water. He doesn't go into detail.
So what's the thing with running water? I never heard about that.
I just asked that.
Yep, it's another one of the lures that vampires don't like.
I guess they can't swim or something, huh?
Possible. And now he's talking about the familiars. He's talking about the assistants of the people that are under Dracula's spell.
Specifically a spell.
Right, because he says right here they're not vampires themselves.
Yeah.
But they don't quite understand who they are or why they are. Or why they follow Dracula.
Right. So Clove's been under a spell for what, 10 years now? Just been
many, yeah. He was around before Dracula was killed, so we don't really know how long Clove. But Clove is mortal. We just don't know how long he's been under Dracula's spell. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I have to ask: has anybody here seen the movie "Let the Right One In"?
No.
Ooh, it's a good vampire movie.
We'll have to cover it one day, Ben.
The thing is, the original is a foreign movie, and unfortunately for Gorilla, it has subtitles. There was an really, really bad American remake, but I'm not going to, mention that. But the original is an amazing, excellent vampire movie. So here we have Clove with Dracula's body in tow and Helen's in the back of this carriage, and he's trying to see if they'll let him stay the night at the monastery.
But they've
been, right. No word is not to let anybody in. But basically, but you can park outside.
Yeah, you can park outside, you can sleep outside, we'll have someone bring you some food, but you're not allowed in.
Right. And I say I wouldn't complain. That's not bad at all.
Right? Considering.
Yep.
Like, by these guys' standards, he's got a covered tent wagon. Like, I guess you could ask him for some more blankets, but that's about it.
I like that this here's a nice attention to detail when they show him go through that little tiny, really old door. A door within a door.
I don't think I missed that in my first time watching it. That's pretty nifty. And we have the big reveal.
And we get this movie's version of Renfield.
What was this guy's obsession with flies?
That's from Renfield. Remember the original Dracula? Renfield was Dracula's assistant and he would eat bugs.
Okay.
So this is like borrowed from that. He's not Renfield. And in fact, he even has a different name. But the fact that they're making him seem, quote, eccentric, slightly crazy, and that he eats the fly, that's the hint to us, the audience, that this character is loosely based on Renfield.
I gotcha.
There he is with the fly. And he swallows it. He takes it out of there. First he drops it into the cup, and then he grabs it out of there and eats it. And unfortunately, everybody in the monastery thinks, oh, he's just a harmless old fool.
Because he's been here for 12 years. He's had outbursts before, but generally speaking, he's fine.
But that means that if he's been there for 12 years, he may have been under Dracula's spell before he was destroyed 10 years ago.
That's exactly what they're hinting at, because they said, here's another dude we found outside of Dracula's castle, just like you guys, 12 years ago.
Yes, that's right.
And he's never been the same since. So he was a normal dude before he went to Dracula's castle. Then they found him outside. He's all messed up in the head. And he's been stationed there for 12 years, which is all, we find out later, part of a plan.
Exactly. And he obviously, they show him go up to the window and look out the window. So that's telling us that he knows Dracula's waiting outside in the carriage.
Well, he can sense him. He doesn't even know. Like, it's the acting. He senses Dracula's there, right? It's the spell in action.
Correct. And of course, here's where he says, we will pull that castle down stone by stone if necessary, but let's get drunk first. And it's like, okay.
Well, no, yeah. The whole point of he's like, we have to make sure that she's away. He basically views her as his property now simply because he's touched her. He's going to be very interested in her. So,
right. So they're saying that above all else, they've got to protect her because that's what Dracula is looking for.
Yeah.
And here's where they all also mention the lore. And the guy asks him, well, what if Dracula comes in here? He goes, well, he's not allowed in unless he's invited by somebody. Which unfortunately...
And if he is, all of the garlic cloves in the world aren't going to help you.
Yes, exactly.
That's why he was laughing at the village people earlier, where he's like, really, garlic cloves, you have this shit? Because they don't understand that you have to... Yeah, anyways, Yeah.
There it is. All the garlic cloves in the world won't keep them out.
Are vampires allergic to garlic in this universe, or does it not work on them?
They do. They had them in the first movie. They told, if you remember right, Van Helsing told them to keep garlic cloves around the bedroom. And then the woman woke up saying, those are stuffy, get them out of here. And she made the maid remove them for Dracula.
Yeah.
And here's where he realizes he's getting his beck and call. And of course, he just happens to have tools right there. He could have broken out the entire time.
Could have, but he's been waiting for this moment.
Yes, exactly. He hadn't had a reason to. And of course, here's where they treat her like a simpleton. She's like, no, you can't go back. Oh, just shut up and go to sleep, Helen. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Well, not Helen, but whatever her name is.
Diana,
thank you.
You're welcome. And it's okay. Yeah, right? Like, it's just like, man, at the very least, be like, hey, if anyone shows up, don't let them in. Don't like, under any circumstance.
Don't trust anybody. Don't talk to anybody about us, right?
Right? And you think her husband would be by her side the whole night. And he'd just be like, you know what? I'm just going to stay here because it's my wife, but whatever. I mean,
right.
Each their own.
Oh, maybe they should have put the memo in a better place.
And here's what they're saying. She's like, well, I'm worried. I don't want you to go. Don't worry. We'll just talk about it in the morning. You're too stupid to listen to us right now. So, yeah, it is sexist how they treated women back then. But it's true. But in their defense, because they didn't want to stress her out and scare her, obviously, right? So, if you want to believe that. So supposedly she's still weak from the carriage accident. That's why she has a little bruise on her head, by the way. And they're talking, and the husband here Charles says, I want to get her out of here. We need to leave. And then, but he's told, no, we'll wait till she gets better. She's still too weak right now to travel.
Should we catch up on chat?
Good idea, sir. Thank you.
All right. Cab says, hello, everyone on panel and chat. Oh, hello there.
Hey, Cam.
Really, yes, a royal hostage to the Ottomans as a child. Yep, and that's where all his cruelty came from, was from the Ottomans. Alrighty, so Gap says, no coffin check or valet?
No, I guess not.
And then Gap says, Vamp, a new dating site for men who like to bite. And Toilet Greg's laughing at Gap. And TVB says, hey, Cap, great to see you, man. And Oler says, my blonde girl is easily scared. And Scurvy here says, take a bite out of loneliness, Gap.
There you go. That'll work.
Nice.
And oh no, here's where Dracula gets invited in. And of course, Dracula waiting no time.
Well, she uses the woman there, and she's like, please, I'm so cold. Yep. I'm so cold. Hey, it's 30 degrees out. You're fine.
And besides, you had teeth and fangs earlier today. You tried to kill us. So, yeah, let's forget about all of that and let her in the room.
So, I mean, hey, the girl's just taking a massive fucking brain injury. She's got a big bump on her head. Like,
or it could be the hypnosis from the vampire, right?
That's exactly what it is. Right? It's your sibling. It's the vampire hypnosis. There's the charm, the desperation. There's a lot of things at play here. Like, she's got to roll really high to fucking pass her check on this one, and unfortunately, she doesn't.
And I have to mention a comedy movie called Love at First Bite. You guys have not seen that, have you?
No.
It sounds like Stock.
With Nicolas Cage in it?
No. No, I'm talking about it's from the 1970s. But I'll
with
George Hamilton.
That guy sounds familiar.
There's a comedy scene. What it is this woman. She's in love with a psychiatrist played by Richard Benjamin. And the psychiatrist is also a hypnotist. You got that? So what's happening is Dracula is also in love with the same woman as he is. And him and Dracula are competing for this woman's affection. And there's a scene where they're at a dinner table at a restaurant. And they're trying to hypnotize each other. Dracula's looking at the hypnotist psychologist says, "You are under my power. You will do as I say." And the hypnotist says, "No, you will do as I say. You are getting sleepy. And then Dracula says, "No, you're under my power." And they're going back and forth, trying to hypnotize each other. Then a waiter walks up and passes out.
Is that the one where the girl turns into a vampire at the end of the movie?
I don't know if you're talking about the same movie. I'll be right back.
All right.
Where's my cursor? There it is.
Well, he does that. All the chats are still caught up.
All right. Wow.
Okay, so I got a question. You invited the lady in, so how does that give Dracula the same invitation?
Renfield, the buddy downstairs, the old guy let him in.
Yeah. Plus, the lady vampire is under Dracula's direct control, so it's kind of like she acts through him. In other words, or he acts through her. In other words, or something like that.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm guessing anyway. I mean, it's common sense I'm using right now.
I mean, maybe. Once again, it depends on the lore, but like, I don't think he fully enters the room in this scene.
Well, they catch him in the act. That's why. Or he runs away after they know he's there.
Yeah.
Hey, none of that on stream, sir. Jeez.
All right. So
Hey, at least I don't snore, Nemesis.
It's only almost 11 on his time zone.
No, 9:40. Yes, 9:40 p.m. All right, here we go. So Dracula enters the room, but unfortunately, only to be interrupted. And now he knows that Dracula's on the premises. Tell me what happened. And this is where he sees that she was bitten on the wrist by Helen, pretty much, the woman.
Yeah.
And the only way to purify it is with heat.
Fire.
Very primitive, yeah.
Well, holy fire, anyway.
No, that's just a lamp. I'm pretty sure it's just a lamp.
Well,
This is what I wondered. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
They use some type of oil to purify the area anyway. They do.
But this is what I was thinking about in the movie when we watched Fright Night. And that is where Peter Vincent was going to go check out Jerry Danvers to see if he was a real vampire. And he supposedly had holy water inside that little bottle. And then Jerry Danvers, he handed it to the vampire, who held it up next to the fire first and then drank it, and there was nothing wrong. It's like totally fine. So I'm wondering if, according to the lore, if holy water is dangerous to a vampire, then if you heat it, it takes away, it's not holy anymore?
No, the whole point of that scene was that the vampire hunter didn't believe in Jesus. Therefore, the holy water didn't work.
Yeah.
Right. I remember when he said to the other kids, he said it's just regular water. All you have to do is just sip it.
Yeah. All right, just a sec. Have a good night, DVB.
All right, DVB.
Bye, DVB.
Thanks for being here, DVB. Have a great night. But I thought that there might have been a remote chance that since that was part of Peter Vincent's luggage with all his props, that may have been actual holy water. But no, you're right. It was just regular water. And Jerry Danvers just took his word for it.
Yeah.
Well, and holy water has to be blessed by the church or something.
Yes.
In order to work, too.
Yes.
Well, in Fright
Well,
Night,
and there's a certain plant that they use that they put inside of it, and there's a lot to it. It's not just you go up to some water and you say some prayers and it's fine.
Bless you, water.
Yeah.
Well, that did not work in Fright Night.
Right. I remember when I was in 6th grade, we went on a field trip to a mission, San Juan Bautista in California, up in Sonora. And even then, I knew all about the. I was already a big fan of vampire movies, so I remember when we went inside the mission, they had this bowl that was holy water, and I thought, wow, that would have been so. I wish I'd had like a bottle to scoop some of that up. Not like I'm ever going to need it.
You never know.
Never know. Here's what he's telling
Right,
me.
and just like,
Go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say the clear lack of communication between people here, right? Like, because he hasn't told anyone else in the monastery here that, like, vampires are real or whatever. Like, watch this, dude. So, like, that's how Renfield was able to go and open things up, and, like, he's able to get away with all the stuff because, lack of communication.
Right, and he's just now finding out the guy told him that, oh, yeah, there's a guy camping outside, by the way.
Right?
And even still after Renfield, well, whatever his name is, the Renfield character, does all this, they still treat him well, which I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a hard time with that too. And so here, this is where we were talking about earlier, Pop, where if they had the strength of 10 men, clearly she doesn't. She can't overpower two.
Right, just 2 men, right.
Yeah. So Dracula might, because he's an actual, like, full-blooded vampire, he might have, like, supernatural power, because, like, he can choke a dude out, like you were saying, and he can, like, throw him across the room. So... Yep.
See, and they're coddling this guy. Like, oh, it'll be all right. We'll just put you back in your room. Of course, he bunks this guy. Knocks him out. And she's all crazy now. That's kind of sexy.
A little bit.
Yeah, plus she's scared, too.
Yes. Yeah, like a trapped animal.
Right, but once again, it's not her, as he's saying.
Mm-hmm. It's just a shell, and what it contains is pure evil.
Well, in reality, vampires are just an animal anyway.
Yes.
And they have their own instincts like we do, except theirs is more sinister and deadly.
Only by our moral standings.
Which reminds me that what you just said reminds me of I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. Have you read that, Nemesis?
No, I've only ever seen the very crappy movie. It's a book that I would actually like to either read or listen to.
It's a novella, so it's very short. It's not that long, so it's something you could listen to or watch or read in a night.
Perfect. But what did it remind you of? It's a very short novel. Well, it's like a short story.
The end. Okay, it's the ending of the movie. The realization that the protagonist has at the very end, and I don't want to spoil it. But it's similar to what you just said.
Nemesis,
it's a matter of opinion on who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. I'll put it that way.
Awesome.
Nemesis, which Legend movie did you see? Because the one I'm thinking about is the Vincent Price one.
I saw the one with Will Smith.
Oh, you just woke up a Pop's bad side right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I avoid it. Okay, I avoid it. Yeah, that cartoon.
And here we have the awesome scene of him. Boom.
Now, you're telling me that does not look pink to you?
No, it's reddish orange.
Red. I'd say red.
It matches the red recording button or our... right? Like at the bottom bar, it's the same color as the red recording button.
Yes, pink is pink. It's a lighter red, lighter shade.
Or like, are you thinking like fuchsia, like hot pink, like 80s pink gorilla?
It looks like Klingon pink.
Like what?
Klingon pink.
Halfway there, but no, it's not Klingon pink.
That's maybe just how, once again, how perception works, how gorilla's eyes perceive that color, how we perceive color differently. It's very interesting.
It's possible.
And look, she looks so peaceful now.
I will say this though. Okay, this is Hammer Blood, and we're talking about how it's straight up red, and we all know blood does not look like that. So obviously, it's because they did it because it showed up really good on film. But and later, like I'll give you an example, like The Evil Dead, when they got to make a more sophisticated horror, and they wanted blood to look more like blood. The way they did that was they used red food coloring, but they would put peanut butter in it. Peanut butter gave them the consistency they wanted to where it was thicker, plus it gave them just the right color to where it would look like blood.
Hey, PvP, and hey, Daniels.
Hey, guys.
Hello, PvP. Hello, Daniel.
PvP.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone.
Good to see you all.
Yeah.
Hey, PvP. Hey, Daniel.
Hey.
Hey,
Better late than never, I guess. But boy, you guys just about done.
Maybe PvP can solve it. What color blood did that look like on her?
Hold on, let me go back.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, it certainly didn't look like real blood to me. I was almost thinking like tomato juice because it was kind of orange.
But it does.
I said it was orangish red.
Yeah, I didn't find it to be convincing blood when I watched.
Well, it looked like paint. It looked like it's paint, but it looked pink to me.
Well, like Pop said, it's a matter of perspective on her eyes.
It also could be the monitor. Also, our monitors our monitors could be different too, right? Slightly, so
possible.
What? I thought everyone had the same thing, PvP.
And of course, nobody's suspicious. What are you doing out of your room? Nobody. The guy's still wandering around when he's causing all these issues and all the shit that's going on.
That's Renfield, right? If I remember correctly, the guy that eats spiders.
He has a different name, but he's loosely based on Renfield.
A Renfield type of character.
Yeah. Yeah, he was kind of creepy, this guy, actually, because he's trying to pretend to be harmless, but he's anything but, really.
But he's not as crazy as Renfield. Remember how crazy Renfield was when we watched Nosferatu?
It's been a while, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I was there for Nosferatu. I forget now.
It was one of our first ones.
I probably missed it then. Yeah.
By the way, I have a quick update. Robert Eggers, the guy who's making the remake of Nosferatu, just completed filming this past week.
Oh.
And he's really good. He did The Witch, and he also did The Lighthouse. The Norseman, which I'm not going to watch, but the thing is, go ahead.
No. It's got actors you wouldn't like. There are scenes that are really interesting, but it's not your thing.
Well, let me put it this way: if Box Office Poison, what's her name, wouldn't be in it, I would have watched it. Nicole Kidman, if she wouldn't have been in it, I would have watched it. She's the reason why I did not watch it. But basically, Robert Eggers is usually got an eye for wanting to make things look very, very authentic. So when he filmed this new vampire, the new Nosferatu, he had them invent and create a specific lens to shoot the movie. So there's going to be apparently scenes where it looks practically black and white, but it's going to look like blue hues. Because if you remember in the silent black and white version, they used blue hues to represent nighttime. So it's interesting that he went back. He not only is he, by the way, and he did not film it digitally. He filmed it with real 35 millimeter film.
Nice.
But he's gonna make sure that it looks like it actually was shot back in 1922, which is, I think, very cool.
Sounds like a must see.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if it was trying to do that 1922 version, he'd have it all silent. But he's probably not going to do that.
I don't think he's going to go that far. But I'm not happy with his choice of who's playing Nosferatu. That's the only thing. I like the fact that, by the way, Willem Dafoe is in it, which is amazing.
Awesome.
And, yes, but the guy who he chose to play Nosferatu, I'm not so happy with. And not only that, but he's expanding the female characters. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I just have to rely on my hopes that the director knows what he's doing. But he hired that Skarsgård guy, the one who played in the new movie It. I guess he's playing the new Nosferatu.
He could be good. I liked him as Pennywise. He was fine.
Well,
But
I'll trust the director and hope he knows what he's doing.
totally. So here we have Gorilla. If you have your classic little button that you press there.
All right, just a sec. What button are you talking about? Oh,
It's a trap button.
I know
It's a
Akbar.
trap.
There we go.
So here what we have is the Renfield character lets her in there and says, "Yeah, just wait right here for your husband," and then locks the door behind her. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't have any red flags going off, right? And look what we have here.
Yeah, the red eyes really show him as a predator too.
Yeah, I love it.
I love those red eyes. Yeah. How did they get them red? Like, I mean, was it photo
Contacts.
or contacts? Okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind of wondering. Yeah, because they look pretty scary.
Yeah, plus it sort of shows that did Dracula get enough sleep last night?
Yeah, I
It
probably
shows-
look like that a few
His
mornings
eyes-
after a bad night.
Well, in these movies, his eyes only turn that color when he's getting ready to feast.
Oh,
Yeah.
all
Right? Like and this is the spell in between, right? He's locked eyes. She's falling for the spell. He's raised his head because she was going to scream and she stopped.
Yep.
And now he comes over and he points at the cross
Right.
and she takes it off. She's already under his spell.
Right, without saying anything, he commands her to take it off, which she does.
Right? And so at this point, it's a little bit different for how we've seen him transform other vampires before. He cuts his chest and then he gets her to like drink his blood. And that's
Yes.
how he transforms her into a vampire.
okay. What makes that different than biting her?
It's in lore, it's supposed to be more powerful because you're receiving a pure-blooded vampire's actual blood. And it's what's necessary to actually become one, I believe.
And maybe he wants to keep her alive. He doesn't want to kill her yet.
Yeah, I think the whole
Yeah.
lore was that the victim the vampire has to drink the victim's blood, and then the victim has to drink the vampire's blood, and that's when they're turned. At least that's what I remember, over the years. It's
Well,
like
the
a
problem with
blood
it,
transfusion back and forth, kind of.
that makes sense.
Because if you figure
A blood ritual.
yeah, I mean, if somebody drank a vampire's blood, then I could see them turning into a vampire, right? So yeah.
But this is the point where the father here knows that the Renfield character is the one that Dracula in. I'd be beating the crap out of him. I would at least be calling the other priest and say, lock him up. And I mean, put him in chains.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, you'd think so, but they're like, "Oh, put him back in his cell," and I'm
Right.
like, "Wait, you mean the
Right.
cell with the bars that are broken?" Like,
Exactly. The same room with the broken bars, right?
Yeah. I found the friar, the head friar, a bit inconsistent throughout the movie. To be honest, guys, like he was really good in some scenes. Like he was a good actor, but I found the way the character is written, he could be quite inconsistent at times.
He is.
Agreed.
I thought that the Renfield character was almost played for laughs, almost like a comedic twist on the character. He didn't seem threatening. He just seemed more like I said, for laughs. I don't know but that could be just the way I interpret it.
I think it was more the things he was doing that were threatening, like letting Dracula in, breaking the bars and opening the
Yes.
windows, and like he was basically enabling Dracula to get what he wanted.
Now here we're assuming that Dracula and her are inside those two coffins, which means Clove had to remove those crosses that the priest put in there, or the abbot. Because remember, he put a cross in each one to prevent Dracula from getting back inside.
yes, because they.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just because they showed him checking out the coffins. They didn't show him physically picking out the crosses, but it's inferred or implied.
Well, Clove is basically still mortal, right? He's still human. He's not been turned. He's just under the
But
spell.
Yes. Just
Well,
like
really-
the Renfield character wasn't a vampire either.
Yeah. So Clove
He-
could have removed the crosses, I think, without harm. to himself.
Totally.
Well, no, they said that Clove was still human, so he's not a vampire.
Yeah, so he could have removed the crosses, no problem, like PvP said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's where they confront Clove with the carriage, and they order him to get down. And of course, he grabs a knife.
And he pulls a lemon pie and fucking blasts him.
Never take a knife to a gunfight, as they say.
Right?
That's the advantage of him being human. He's much easier to kill.
Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, because he's human, that's why the priest is like, you need to take the rifle and kill him because I'm a son of God. I can't take the human life. I can stretch it by shooting a venison, by shooting a deer and getting some food, but like, which I thought was kind of funny. They're like, hey man, damn your eternal soul didn't kill this guy for me because I can't do it. I'm very high up there. I've worked really hard to become an abbot.
I only kill vampires.
Hey, he can forgive his sins afterwards.
Okay, fair enough. Good point.
That's true. Always carry a preacher around with you guys when you go on a rampage.
Yeah. Give him absolution or whatever. Yeah.
So once Clove gets shot, the carriage, the horses just take off, and of course head back to the castle, Dracula.
You think the horses are almost under a spell because they seem to know exactly where to go?
I think so.
Yeah,
and they do establish
too.
that they do establish that in Nosferatu.
Oh, okay.
So here's where we have where the carriage hits a bump, and there goes Dracula's coffin.
See, Dracula should have had that pond drained a long time ago.
Yep. But she'll be his undoing. Fortunately, they wake her up, and see, this is another a good reason why Dracula did not bite her, and she also didn't get a chance to. I don't think she had a chance to drink the blood on his chest either.
Nope.
So she's totally fine. She was just, I guess, sleeping the whole time or under his spell.
Probably under the spell. Yeah.
And here's where they establish that he's walking very carefully because we have frozen lake or ice.
A frozen moat.
And Dracula wakes up, and there's a struggle.
Now, this is supposed to be not during the daytime. Exactly. It seems quite bright. Like
the whole movie's shot day for night, so they make it a little confusing.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, wouldn't he just burn to a cinder, like if it's still daylight? But I guess I'll get because I mean, look at the clouds there. It looks daylight to me.
Very yes.
Yeah, we had problems with that earlier. PvP.
Yeah, I had problems with it. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and once again, kind of the power level of Dracula is a little inconsistent. Like, I feel like he should be able to just, like, toss Charles aside, no problem. But, like, Charles is hanging on there pretty good up until that point, and he smashed him into a wall.
Yes.
Well, another thing, too, is the Christopher Lee version of Dracula not able to turn into a bat and fly away?
They have not established that yet in the lore.
Oh, okay.
If he is, it'll be in a later movie.
Yeah, it's like Sith Dan was saying. They haven't established that he can turn into mist either yet, but that is one of his powers.
But and to be honest, I think, and obviously I wasn't there when they made these movies, but as a creative choice, I can see why they would avoid the bat routine because often they look silly, and they look like just a cheap prop on wires. So
yeah.
So they may have been right to avoid getting unnecessary or unintended laughs.
Yeah, plus they don't want to make Dracula too overpowered.
That's true. And now he's trapped.
Yeah. Yeah, a flawed villain is a more interesting villain, basically, yeah. I like Lee's acting in this scene, though. He's like, whoa.
Oh, dude, like, and this just made me think of, like, Super Mario World. I'm like, this is totally a video game at this point, right? Like, just...
Yeah, I was actually laughing my butt off at this scene. I got to be honest with you guys. It's just like, I thought it was unintentionally funny, actually. I mean, I got the Dracula's done for here, but I don't know. There was just something about this scene that just made me laugh because, well, for one thing, when did the running water thing be a thing? Like, I don't remember that ever in lore. I mean, unless I
This is the first movie that I ever saw it mentioned in.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused by that, but oh well.
Yeah, don't worry, you're not the only one.
Well, I sort of asked it in pop culture, and Nemesis sort of don't know the answer still, though.
No, I'm going to have to do. I've heard the reason why, and I can't give you an accurate description. I will have to do more research and let you guys know in the future.
That's my point.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Thank you.
And we got our closing credits.
Well, my theory was for why vampires can't do running water because they can't swim. That was my theory on it.
Very likely, if you figure a vampire is the undead or dead, which means he doesn't breathe. So maybe the body sinks straight to the bottom because it doesn't have air in it. Because one of the things that keeps us afloat is that we have air in our body.
But if vampires don't breathe, and we know they don't, could a vampire drown? I mean, perhaps not.
Maybe it's the fact that it's freezing water. He froze. Maybe if it wasn't frozen,
well, it
he
said
would just
running
sink to the bottom and he could walk out.
It said running water specifically, did it not?
Yeah,
so
it said
I'm
running
thinking
water.
there's something about the water running that has some power. Like, it was once again confusing.
Well, we're just theorizing here, so we don't know the answer to it concrete yet. We don't know the answer to it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always interesting to speculate when something new comes along. Like, I'd never heard of it in any vampire lore before, so I did find it interesting.
And as a reminder, everyone, I did put a poll in the chat. If you feel so inclined, please feel free to vote. Let us know about what grade you would give the movie or what grade you would give our coverage of the movie. If you had a good time or not, please let us know. I'll be going around here like I usually do and getting the grade or asking the grade from each person here. And as they also share a little bit of info about their channel.
Yeah, should we talk about chat before we
great
start
idea. But first, absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, Daniel says, hi, how are you guys tonight? Doing all right.
We must be way behind.
Still alive and kicking here.
Yeah, Daniel says, this movie shows that the oldies are the goldies. They can't make anything as epic nowadays.
I agree.
Yeah. Today, they started filming Section 31. Oh, they did start filming it. And then Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is wondering when. Daniel, are rumors that Section 31 is a musical true?
I would not be surprised.
If it is, I'm burning some places down. And William Dafoe was in this movie. Oh,
no.
No, I don't. Was William Dafoe? How old was he when this movie was made?
It probably was It probably was still an infant. But
yeah, he would have been young.
But I think Daniel, the Hot Topics, is talking about the new Nosferatu movie. I think he's talking about that.
Yeah. And Daniel says, I hope not. And Scurvy goes, we are Section 31. We are having some fun. All right. Daniel says, Bella Lugosi did not need blood red eyes. It was all him.
It was black and white movie. So yeah, no, it didn't have that.
Yeah. And Nemesis or Scurvy says, LOL, Nemesis. Oh, have a good night, Gap.
Night, Gap.
Night, Gap.
Night, Gap.
And Scurvy gives us an F for coverage. Oops, I mean A+.
An F? What'd you do?
It's an A+.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. So, all right. I usually go clockwise. So we'll start with you. I think that's Nemesis. Yeah, all we have is a stock avatar. But Nemesis, what say you about this movie? What grade would you give it?
Oh, I have a stock avatar. I'm terribly sorry to see that. It looks normal on me. But for me, I would give this a solid B. It was fantastic. I mean, well, fantastic. It's a little much, but like it was good, solid. At no point was I checking my watch, being like, "Man, when this movie's going to be over." The scenery was really good. The set design was awesome. The acting was solid. Didn't really care about the characters, unfortunately, so kind of brought it down. Some of the scenes were kind of goofy, so kind of brought it down for me there. And the music was over the top at times, very bombastic. Sometimes it was really great, on par, set the tone beautifully. Same with the lighting. So yeah, that being said, solid B. And then I've been doing some research in the background here. So for the whole running water thing, it looks like it seems like it drains their power and shorts them out, kind of like an electrical device, which kind of makes sense.
Oh, okay.
As we saw Christopher Lee just kind of like give up and slide underneath. Like as soon as he touched that water, he was just like done.
Yeah, that makes
sense. And it says that many vampires believe their soul will be trapped if they die in running water.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. It says people believe the spirits could not cross running water, which therefore would temporarily separate the vampire from the bonded souls of their victims, which they must release first. This leaves the vampire vulnerable to many variations of death.
Wow, cool.
All right. So if that helped at all.
Oh, it helps a lot. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. And now, as for me and my channel, I've been doing lots of Skullgirls Mobile. So if you're into hot animated girls with big boobs bouncing around fighting each other, definitely check it out. And I'd love to have your subscriptions. And thank you so much to Pop and everyone on the panel and everyone in the chat and who watches this on the rerun. You're all legends. Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. It was our pleasure, sir. Thank you for being here. I value your opinion. So it's great to see you again.
As do I, Pop.
How about you, Sci-Fi Sit Dan? What's your grade for the movie? And tell us about your channel.
I would give this movie a solid B as well. The story was compelling. The sets were pretty well detailed. Sadly, the one that made me downgrade my grade was the characters. They're kind of forgettable, and I kind of don't like that. I mean, I like memorable characters where I can sort of picture them in my mind, but in Dracula, he was a good menacing presence, even though he did not say a word. Christopher Lee did a good job in showing the presence of that villain.
Cool.
And this is what I mean by the forgettable characters. What is the name of the female vampire again?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What is the name of the female vampire again?
Helen.
Yeah,
Helen.
Helen was gorgeous and as sexy as ever as a vampire. Beyond that, I'll give it a B. And then as for my channel, I cover usually different areas of sci-fi, but my background in movies or TV shows can vary depending on how far down I travel down those franchises. My main areas are Star Wars, specifically the Legends timeline, the prequels, the originals, and Star Trek, the first 6 movies, Stargate, Atlantis, and SG-1. I have seen SGU. It's all right. And then Transformers, I'm pretty knowledgeable on that, depending on which era of Transformers you're talking about. And I do cover, if you ask me other subjects like horror or fantasy or action, depending on if I'm familiar with the movie, I could give you my opinion on those movies. Beyond that, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please go over to my channel. Every subscription helps, and every like helps me as well to grow my channel. Beyond that, that's all I have. And I forgot my videos on my YouTube channel. Yeah. The videos on my channel are a few years old. They mainly are Stargate videos nowadays, since I'm mainly to Stargate right now. I do Star Wars videos, top 10 Sith Lords, top 10 Jedi Masters, all that. I do have some Transformers videos on there. And beyond that, that's all I got to say about my channel. And I believe it's either PvP's turn or Gorilla, depending on what Pop wants.
Yeah, have a good night. Yeah, have a good night, Cam.
Good night,
Good night,
Cam.
Cam.
Have a great night.
Night,
Thank you
Cam.
for stopping by and saying hello.
Night,
All
Cam.
right.
Cam. Have a good night, buddy.
All right, so PvP, you are next. Give us your grade about the movie and you'd like to share with us about your channel.
Yeah, I might take a little bit longer because since I missed most of the stream, I have some things I'd kind of like to get off my chest, so to speak, about this film. I ended up giving it a C plus. I wanted to give it a B minus. I really did, but the more I thought about it, since I watched it last night, there were just too many things about it that I found a little less than wonderful. Like at the beginning of the movie when they want to stake that young girl that had died, and the friar shows up on his horse, and he's like, just bury her in the cemetery, like he knows what happened, like even though he rode like what 50 miles away or something like from where it happened. Like I don't know how he knew that everything was going to be good, but it seemed like he did. And then he goes to the inn with the villagers, right? And he orders a drink, sits down with the English people that are on their tour, and proceeds to basically mock the entire population of that village that are, in the pub having a drink or supper or whatever.
Pretty much,
Tears their garlic down. He's like, "You people are superstitious, fools or whatever." And he's like, gee, gosh, aren't they on your side? Like they're on guard against vampires. Shouldn't you be happy that they are? Because
I think what his point was that he obviously he believes in vampires too, but I think his way of saying that if there's a vampire, this garlic is not going to help you.
But apparently that is part of the lore, though, right? So,
Hey, Jill.
But I think that's why.
Hey, hi, Jill.
Hello, Jill.
Hey, Jill.
I think that's why later in the movie that he said once a vampire is invited in, no amount of garlic is going to help you.
Maybe he could have just told the people in the pub, like, giving them that tip, right? Like, just don't invite anybody
don't let him in,
and that you don't know, right? But oh well,
Well, plus he was sort of telling them that the threat of Dracula was over, basically, but they're still superstitious about vampires, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at that point, remember, when he started opening the book there at the monastery, he said, "I thought they were dead years ago." So so maybe that was the problem, is he thought they were long gone, and they come to find out they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the actor playing him was a pretty solid actor. I enjoyed most of the scenes he was in, and he did become a more likable character later in the film. Once as the story progressed, he started to realize what was going on and started to take the threat, as something very real and very serious that he had to deal with. But I did find his character a little inconsistent, so that kind of took a point away from the film. I like the actors that played the four British people or the English people, whatever I think they call them English people in the film. Actually, I thought they were good. Kind of well, not really background, but they were like they weren't main character, like they weren't like starring characters, right? Like christopherlee. So they were kind of supporting cast, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I thought they were all perfectly fine actors. They were good. Their characters, I thought, were a little stereotype, cardboard, a little bland for my taste. I did like the one English lady that was the sensible one, and she kept saying, "Let's not go to this castle. Let's just stay in the cabin, that they found. Let's not do this." And of course, the other three are like, "Oh no, don't worry, it'll be fine," And of course, we find out what happens later on, So I felt really bad for her. Actually, she was probably the most sympathetic character of the four of them. I was really bummed out when she, literally, bit it, so to speak. But I thought, well, another thing that bothered me, her hubby sees Clove dragging the suitcase or whatever. So, of course, like any sensible man, instead of just locking the door and going back to sleep, he decides to investigate and ends up, getting his throat slashed. And like, well, yeah, that made sense. So that kind of, I mean, I know the story has to happen, but it's once again a gullible character doing something really dumb, which is kind of a trope in horror films, I know. So, but that kind of just took it down a little bit. And I really did enjoy, though, when actually the throat cutting scene was, I mean, we didn't see it on screen, but the blood pouring into Dracula's coffin and on his ashes, I thought was really cool. Actually, I mean, that that was pretty gory stuff for 1966 or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah, it was.
you know, and I really enjoyed it. Like, that was one of the highlights of the film for me. You've gotten me into gore, Pop. You've got me into gore. But you know, that was fun. That was a fun scene, and of course, when Christopher Lee, you know, comes back, it's always great. But that's another bone I have to pick actually with the film is, I mean, Christopher Lee's got the starring credits in the main title, right? Top billing, top actor. But how many minutes was he actually in the film?
Not very much.
Maybe 10? Like,
That's
very
being
little.
kind, yeah.
Yeah. And that's another reason I took a point away. It's like, I want to see Christopher Lee in the starring role as Dracula. I mean, write a story that features him a little bit more, guys, if you could. And another thing, no dialogue, like zero dialogue for a man with such a great voice as Christopher Lee has. Like that, there's another point gone right there, right? So you can understand why this film was dropping rapidly for me as I watched it.
Well, perhaps
some
we'll
good
get more
points.
of that in the future movies.
I hope so. Because I mean, I felt Christopher was kind of wasted in this film, to be honest, guys. Like, I just thought he was almost like he was like a secondary character in his own film when he's supposed to be the star. And that felt really weird as I was watching it, right? Because, I mean, the supporting cast got way more time. I mean, they carried the film, basically. And so that kind of bugged me when I was watching it. I didn't think, you know, the overall story wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything. And I love, well, once again, Hammer films have this fantastic atmosphere, the color, the sets, the castles. I mean, the whole 9 yards. That stuff was all fantastic, as it generally is in Hammer movies. So that kind of kept the film up from like really going down the drain. But yeah, overall, I had to give it a C plus. I mean, I liked it, but I thought it was much less than the first film that we watched previous to this. I thought that was an excellent film compared to this one. So,
well, it didn't help the fact that we don't get Peter Cushing either. You know, that was.
Well, Peter Cushing, yeah, he carried the first film basically, right, a lot of the time. So, and he is such a fine actor that, you know, it didn't matter because he's so good to watch. So,
yes,
yeah. So I hate to be harsh, but I just had to be.
No. That's why we're here, is to give our honest opinions. Tell us about your channel.
Actually, I'll keep it short. There's not a whole heck of a lot to add. I just keep working on my music, adding playlists and different bands that I enjoy. And a lot of times I'll add complete albums of interesting bands that I happen to find on YouTube. So yeah, just, you know, maybe check it out once a week or something, because I try to add at least one thing every week when I can. So yeah, basically, if you like music, if you like rock and roll, you know, please do check it out. That would be awesome.
Very cool. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. I know you were late, but better late than never, as I said.
Yeah, well, I figured, I mean, I didn't want to miss this one. I mean, though it's not one of my favorite films we've ever done on the Tuesday night streams, I still wanted to make a comment because I do enjoy Christopher Lee so much. So I wanted to kind of throw my 5 cents in, so to speak. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, Pop.
Oh, my pleasure. Now, Gorilla, what say you? What do you think about this movie? And tell us about your channel.
Well, apparently hell froze over because I'm going to be the nicest one on the whole panel.
Oh, wow.
No, I really enjoy, like Nemesis said, I wasn't actually looking at my watch, and I was actually paying more attention to the movie than my mind wandering like it normally does and stuff. It had beautiful sets and all that, fantastic. It had good music. I mean, it could have probably used a little bit more of the horns, but that's still really good music there. It added to the lore of Dracula. I'm learning things about vampires I never knew before there. So, and I was pretty good there. So I'm going to give it low A minus, upper B plus.
Very cool. And what do you want to say about your channel?
Well, we're watching Justified tomorrow, episodes 5 and 6 of season 4. And then Thursday for Cringe Stock, we are watching The Creeping Terror, where it's apparently Aladdin's carp is drunk. So, then Friday we're reviewing the Waltons episode, The Graduation. Saturday we'll be reviewing Return to the Lost World. And then Sunday we are watching Mad Max Fury Road for Sunday Cinema. Then I'll probably get a few shorts out this week too.
Nice, very, very cool. I appreciate it, Gorilla. Thank you for being here, and also thank you for helping me out with the chat.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm going to give the movie. I'll give it a B. It would have been an A if we would have gotten more Christopher Lee. I agree with PvP on that. It's too bad that we get a reduced role in this movie. I don't know if that's because his schedule, that's all allotted for, or if that was a creative decision. It's a good thing that the supportive cast was interesting. Otherwise, it could have been worse, I suppose. I like the fact that it did add to the lore. I'm excited to see what the next step is for the next Dracula movie. Basically, let's see what he does to get out of this situation, right? Because we know that there is another movie, which we will be covering here in about a month and a half. Because our next Hammer movie will obviously be the next progression in the Frankenstein series. But I enjoyed it, and I'll give it a good solid B because it is a Hammer movie. The production values was great. I'm not going to complain about that.
You mean Dracula, not Frankenstein?
No, I'm saying the next movie will be a Frankenstein movie.
Okay.
And that we will cover the next Dracula movie in about a month, 2 months. Because it's every other month. So 1 month it's Frankenstein, 1 month it's Dracula.
Okay.
Have you guys done the Mummy movie yet?
Not yet. Which one do you mean? The Boris Karloff?
The 1930s one, I think.
Not yet. I do mean to. I want to delve back in and get it and show those classic horror movies like The Mummy, Dracula, and Frankenstein. But we haven't done that yet. But we do need to, absolutely. Those are obviously requirements. If you're going to have a horror sci-fi stream, you can't do it without the classic Universal monsters.
And here comes my bad question for you, depending on your viewpoint. What did you think of the 1990s Mummy movies?
The 1990s Mummy movies?
Mummy movies, yes.
I was not a fan.
I liked the first one a lot, actually. I thought the first one was quite good.
Right. I know some people did like them, but
I thought the second. No, the thing is, the second one the kind of went downhill, and the special effects sucked. So I wasn't a fan of the second one at all, Pop. But I thought Brendan Fraser was actually quite. It was kind of a good old fashioned, adventure. Kind of, serialized, almost a serial type of film, right? And I thought there was a lot of good aspects in it.
Well,
I enjoyed it.
It was an action adventure movie, and the first one was good. Second one to me was okay, and the third one, it was okay as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think the first one was quite a bit better than the sequels. Yeah, I would agree. I like the cast too. What was her playing the love interest? What was her name? Oh God, she was
Rachel Weisz.
Oh, Rachel Weisz. Oh, what a babe!
Jeez, man, how can you forget that?
Oh,
fuck!
Well,
how can you forget Evie?
I can't remember the name of every actress in the world, but give me a break. I did remember her though. I remember her hotness though. Isn't that the main thing?
Yes, it is. She was also in Enemy at the Gates.
She's done quite a bit, hasn't she? Didn't she kind of fade away?
Anyways,
after a while,
we're getting way off topic here, though.
Yep. I just want to mention with your avatar there, Nemesis, Dracula kind of looks like a Cyclops vampire here.
He totally does. He totally does.
I just thought I'd mention it.
Nemesis,
Thanks, Lemon.
Nemesis, do you have any avatars or pictures in your gallery to put for a picture like we do on ours?
Yeah, he has an avatar.
Yeah. Hey, PvP, look at this real quick.
Yeah, I'd love to stream someday, but I just need to get organized enough to actually do it. Oh, man.
Yeah, thanks for putting all the links in there, Scurvy.
Yeah, cool stuff. Excellent.
Appreciate it, Lemon.
Yeah, thanks, Lemon.
But yeah, I give the movie a B, like I said. It would have been nice to get a little more Christopher Lee in it. But I appreciate the fact that it's a Hammer movie. And it gets to the point where I crave good horror because they don't make it anymore. And I know they never will again. And so it's nice that we have these classics to fall back on. And on my channel, Tomorrow night is Wednesday. We should be having Gorilla and myself. We're going to be covering 2 more episodes of Gilligan's Island season 3. And then Saturday we'll be back with another stream, open topic, open mic of Rumblings from the Lab. And next Monday we'll be returning to Lost in Space. We'll be back with another episode from season 2 of Lost in Space. And then we'll be back next Tuesday, obviously with another choice from our horror sci-fi lineup. And I hope you're able to join us, everybody, for these streams that I just aforementioned. If you enjoyed yourself tonight, please consider hitting the like button. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and close the chat. Close the poll in the chat and then share the results with everybody so we can all see. And thank you, everybody. If you voted, I appreciate it. Thank you for your participation.
Yeah, we went Chicago style there. I put in 40 votes there. We're all for F.
If it was only that simple, Gorilla.
Oh, it is that simple. You can create multiple accounts.
And here we go. All right. So looks like we've got 14 votes accounted for. Thank you, everybody, once again. What grade would you give Dracula, Prince of Darkness? And it looks like 50% gave it a B+ to B-, which reflects pretty much with the panel, the general consensus on the panel. And it looks like 42% gave it an A+ to A-. 7% gave it a C+ to C-. And it looks like nobody gave it a D+ or below, which is amazing. And thank you guys, everybody, for voting. I love everyone's opinions. It always makes this much more interesting. And also, once again, thank you to my good friend Gorilla. I know it's late. I know you've got to work tomorrow. It's 10:30 at night. So yeah, and you've got probably a freezing morning to contend with in the morning.
It's been unusually warm.
Interesting you said that. Same thing here. It was like 50 degrees today. I was like, what?
Yeah, we got rain. We got rain again here last night. Like we've had like maybe snow twice this winter so far, and it's just rain. So it is kind of weirdly warm, actually.
Yeah, well, it's an El Nino year.
It's something.
Oh, good old El Nino again, huh?
Yeah.
That makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
I want to thank from the bottom of my heart everybody in the chat for coming and visiting with us tonight. It was great to see you guys. I hope you're all doing well, and thank you for spending the time with us. It really makes it all worth it. And especially most of all, thank you to the wonderful people on the panel and helping me carry the conversation and the review of this movie. And once again, of course, I don't know what next Tuesday's movie is going to be yet, but I will be posting that within the next day or so. I think we're at the point where we have to vote again.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun. That'll be great then. That's always fun.
Yeah, so we'll put some movies up for everybody to vote for. I'll try to put a balance up between horror and sci-fi and let everyone choose.
Sounds good.
Yeah, stay tuned to my channel, everybody, to that community tab. That's where I'll put the poll up to let everybody vote on what movie we cover next week. And yes, check out my good friend Anti-Derivative Jill. She just stopped by here close to the end. Please check out her channel. I feel terrible that I missed her Star Trek stream today because I had to go to a neurological examination. I had to go all the way to a stupid, by the way, they scheduled it like 4 months ago, neurological examination, and I don't even know what that was for. I get there, and it's like an hour away. I get there, and the dumb doctor is like, how are your seizures? Are you having seizures? And I said, well, no, I haven't had any since I had the brain tumor removed in June. Oh, well, I don't know what you need me for. I guess I'll see you in 6 months. And I'm like, well, you motherfucker. We got to talk to her on the phone.
Exactly. Why didn't they just do a phone call meeting? Like, duh.
I know, and I'm tired of it.
Oh, that's sad.
They act like our time is not valuable to us. Of course, their time is valuable to them. But we are all just mindless crap. And our time is not valuable to us. So I was highly upset that I missed that Jill's stream for no damn reason. And that's why I'm pissed off. I'm sorry, guys, for venting. But I'm tired of these fruitcake doctors and a bunch of quacks.
That makes no sense at all. That makes zero sense what they did.
I know it. Yes, I've never met the idiot before. I want to cuss him out. I'm like, well, are you serious? Are you serious?
I
For
don't
that?
blame you.
Yeah, they say they care for us, and yet they don't because they have so many patients and they don't care.
Well, it's like, one extreme to the other. When we had the lockdowns, they wouldn't see anybody in person. I had a bad earache, and I called and I said, I need to see the doctor. I got a bad earache. Well, can they do it over the phone? So now it's like, no, they
really?
can hand it.
Oh.
Yes. So I just gave up on that, and I didn't go to see a doctor for like almost 2 years. And now it's like, yeah, now it's just meaningless crap that we can handle over the phone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
I feel lucky. Like I got a phone call scheduled for March from one of the doctors I've dealt with in the last year, and it's total phone meeting. It's just going to be on the phone because she just wants to give me an update on some results on something. So I'm cool with that, right? So
yeah, that's great because then you could say, okay, here's the answer to your question. Bye. See you later.
exactly. And the thing is, she's the first doctor I saw before I got my regular doctor, which is a different lady. So it's just like this is like a second opinion kind of situation, Pop. So I'm totally happy that it's on the phone because I wouldn't want to waste my time driving down to the hospital for that,
Oh, and it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't like the disrespect. I'll respect the doctor and respect their time, and that's where I'll be on time. But I think they need to respect us too and stop treating us like we're like serious, like we're just peasants, like we're just below their feet, and we're not deserving of anything. I really really hate that.
You don't have a regular doctor then, Pop, I'm guessing?
I do have a general practitioner, but this is a neurologist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or we're all cogs in a machine.
Yes. But I don't know. Like I said, I was upset because I'm tired. They always schedule it for Tuesday, and I keep telling them anything but Tuesday, you stupid idiots.
That's so weird because I've told them Fridays are my only day that I'm not working. Well, I'm not working Thursdays right now either because my hours are shorter, and they always schedule stuff for me on Fridays. Like they actually listen, like, which is nice, but I'm lucky because I got an excellent regular doctor. Like she's the best doctor I've ever had, and I really lucked out when I got her like 6 months ago. So, I
Okay.
count my blessings, because it's nice to have somebody that actually gives a shit.
I'm so sorry. I know, Jill. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. And the guy's a quack. Fortunately, I don't have to see him for another 6 months. And even then, I'll probably tell him to shove it up his ass. And Jill says Scotty was frustrated too because his power went out today. Oh, so he missed it too. But it was okay. I missed you guys. But I had Stone Racket Bird 45 and Jim. Okay, well, I'm glad they were on there, but I don't like it because I'm tired of deceit. I wish people would be honest and upfront. And they could have called and said, look, all we want to do is ask you a few questions. And I could have said, well, then we can do that over the phone. You don't need me to go all the way down there. Okay, Lemon Pie says, I had them schedule me for a doc visit after a hospital stay. Told me I needed the doc. Was like, why? Did you come? Are you having problems? LOL. And Lemon Pie says, I was wondering why Scotty wasn't there. And it's too bad both of us were gone. It's like, oh, and I was hoping that at least one of us could be there for her co-host. And I driven to Jill says, making you show up for pointless appointments is really rude. It is. And I've got to arrange a ride. It's one of those ride services through my insurance. So they picked, okay, my ride was at 10:40 a.m. my time. They picked me up at 9. So they get me there like an hour early. So I'm actually waiting in the waiting room for like over an hour before the actual appointment starts. And then by the time the doctor comes in, he talks to me less than 5 minutes. And then I'm having to wait another almost an hour for my ride to come and pick me up again. So yeah, to say that I was pissed is definitely an understatement. So I do apologize sincerely, Jill.
Yeah, you got every right. I'd be really pissed off too if that happened to me, Pop. I mean, you have every right to be mad.
Well, I figure she's, Jill's always there on my, without exception, she's always there on my Lost in Space stream. So I feel that I owe her. I need to be on her streams. That's only fair. So I'm just tired of, like I said, these people who don't care, just go about their lives and not caring about anyone else. No empathy whatsoever. But enough about that.
Well, Pops, you might as well get a magazine or a crossword puzzle when you go next time. That way you kill the time that way.
Well, I do have my phone. I can, I was in the chat when I had a signal. The signal was like off and on. So I was in the chat monitoring and listening, but that was, like I said, the signal kept dropping in and out.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know. But oh well. Anyway, I want to thank everybody once again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, everybody. Thank you guys for being here, because I may have had a crappy day, but you guys made up for it by making everything so much better. So tonight went much, much better than my day did. So it could not have happened without you guys being present. So thank you, super thanks to all the chat and everybody, and especially all you guys on the panel. Thank you guys for helping me out. And Gorillas, thank you for the helping me out with the chat. Once again, you have proven yourself as to be the absolute chat master.
Not a problem.
I thank you for that, sir.
And I heard a pop here, so let me get back to this.
I think Nemesis just left and came back.
Okay.
I hope you're there, Nemesis. I hope you're there at least to say goodnight with us.
I'm still here.
All right, very cool. Okay.
I'm still here.
Nemesis is still here. He has not yet left the building.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, everybody have a wonderful night. Please stay warm. If you work tomorrow, drive safe. I will hopefully see you all soon. If you can make it, please come and join us for our Gilligan's Island stream tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, here, just a sec. Bob, Jill had something to say.
Jill says, "You don't owe me a thing. You show up every time you possibly can, and you were there at the start of my channel, and you rock." Well, that's very kind of you, Jill, but still, I feel it's an obligation because, like you said, we started our channels together, and I can't help but feel guilty if I miss it. And I don't like when these people get in the way. I'll put it that way. I mean, I know a neurologist, I think that's what it's called, neurologist. I guess it's necessary, but it's the way they handle the situation. I just don't think it's necessary. But yeah, thank you very much. And I do appreciate it. You're very sweet, Jill. That's why Jill's my favorite YouTuber. We started this from the very beginning. So we're YouTube pals. But have a great night, everybody. Take care, and I will see you all hopefully very soon.